You didn't give me a heads up.
I did. Shalom, everyone. We're going live. What didn't I? I did.
I don't know. It just happened. I'm scared.
Suvi, should we just start by saying, like, what do we say? Assad has fallen. Assad just fell. Damascus has fallen. What do we say? What do we say? I mean, a happy end of Assad, I guess. Is that a better? What do I say? If people say, yeah.
Congratulations to the people of Syria.
Yes. Again, guys, I just want to say we don't know what's going to happen next. Okay, but Assad falling just by itself, that deserves a congratulations to the people in Syria. I'm not good. We don't know what's going to come next. We're not going to say that things are going to be. We don't know. Things might get better for people in Syria. Things might get worse. We don't know. But Assad was evil. Assad was part of the axis of resistance. Assad was a murderer, a fascist, the main killer of the children of Syria, and the torture, absolute horrifying level of torture of Syrian people in ways that can't even be described. Seems like coming out of a horror movie to what he did to his own people. And the Syrian people deserve to be congratulated right now for watching this motherfucker fall. Yeah. So again, not that we are in favor of the people, the HTS group, not that we are saying that things are going to get rosy and everything is going to work out. We have no idea what the fuck is going to happen, but this is, at least this is a moment that we should take what we can get, and this is good, and it's good for almost everyone right now to see the axis of resistance falling. This was the bridge. Syria was the bridge that connected the Islamic Republic to the borders of Israel, and the bridge has fallen. The main connector, this is arguably the end of the axis of resistance. Without Syria, there is no axis of resistance. So, Susie, did you want to add anything to this before we continue?
Oh my gosh, I just got really emotional, actually. It was so crazy while was studying for the stream last night, and I'd check in on Twitter like every hour or so, and then like progressively over the span of a few hours last night, like all of a sudden I'm like, holy cow, like it's over. Just watching it progress was insane. Absolutely insane.
Yes.
Seeing the videos come out of people breaking free of the prisons. Like I saw a video of a man who had been in hiding in his apartment with his family in Homs for 10 years. He hadn't left his apartment for like 10 years to even go on a walk with his family because he was in hiding from authorities, just on the sidewalk, kissing the ground, sobbing. Like I can't even imagine. It's huge. It's absolutely huge.
I am going to do a stream tomorrow about this on this channel, so make sure you subscribe. I have a lot of videos that you're not going to see in other places. Can I show one video of the of prisoners being released? Maybe people are going to the prisoners. These are Assad's prisons. Hold on, let me. Oh, that's the biggest. Yeah.
يلا رح افتح لك بس اكثر دخل. طلعوا يلا النسوان طلعوا لا تخافوا عمي لا تخافوا سوار انتوا بوان طلعوا سوار يا اخي سوار طلعوا هدوا شوي انتوا من وين طلعوا.
So these are female prisoners.
سيروا بعد شوي يلا دقيقة لا تخافوا عمي لا تخافوا يا اختي لا تخافي بعد كبروا يلا عمي الشعب صارت لنا روحوا وين ما بدكم. الله اكبر. كبروا. ليك الولد يا حرام.
Where's a baby in the prison? Like that's crazy.
يا حرام منين عمي؟ شو بدك اغراضك امانات يا اختي هلا بس
He's trying to open the door.
هلا بطلع لك اياهم روحي هلا دقيقة تاخذيهم معي طلعوا الحمد لله على السلامة طلعوا روحوا الحمد لله على السلامة طلعوا وين بدكم تروحوا الاثنين؟ اطلعوا يا دارية ما في حدا يلا رح نطلع لك اياها صرفن هون شهاد يلا رح نطلع شو بدك لك روحي يا عمي ما بدك هوية.
So it keeps going like that. They keep going to one cell to another. I have a lot of videos. I could just do an entire stream like this. Can I just do one more video? I know we have news to cover. Can I do one more video? So this whole the HTS used to be Al-Qaeda, right? So they did an interview with him and they're like, aren't you Al-Qaeda? He was like, no, I used to be Al-Qaeda because I was young and stupid. The guy is like, I'm completely democratic now. We're so kind now. We're going to be tolerant to everybody. Again, I'm not saying we should believe them. I'm just telling you what they're saying right now. The guy, like, the fact that they're not Al-Qaeda, that part is true because they're actually kill Al-Qaeda right now, right? However, whether or not they're going to act like Al-Qaeda, that remains to be seen. Right now, they're acting like the most tolerant people. The Assad has fallen, and the prime minister is there, and they're telling the prime minister that they're not going to do anything to him, and he should continue ruling. And they're going to make sure, like, yeah, they're not touching the prime minister, like, keep doing all the office work, your security is guaranteed, and they're telling everybody that nobody's going to be like killed. Even the soldiers of Assad, they're like not doing anything to them. It's very non-Al-Qaeda-ish or non-ISIS-ish. And
people are on Twitter are calling them DEI jihadis.
yeah.
I don't know if that's so true. Tolerant. It's just so funny.
So they look, they actually went to people with Christmas trees, like they're showing that they're going to be tolerant of Christians. They even set up, there's reports that even they came in and they set up Christmas trees themselves. They came with like breads and food. Like they had offices setting emergency phone numbers for people to call them if they don't have food. They brought bakers from Idlib to make sure that as soon as they get to the cities, they have food for everybody. In the every city that they captured, they had people that were cleaning the streets just to show to people, like, look, we're actually are going to clean the streets as well. But this interview was amazing because they were like interviewing a non-hijabi girl and a young boy who are Christians, and they're like, look, we're not going to touch their Christmas stuff. We're going to let them have their Christmas. So let's watch this. It was really...
أنا الآن متواجد في حي العزيزية في مدينة حلب كما تشاهدون خلفي تماما.
This was in Halab, Aleppo.
بعض الشابات والشبان يقومون
So they're like, look, we're not like these are
تزيين شجرة عيد الميلاد للتجهيز لاحتفال رأس السنة. السلام.
Oh, Tajhiz, like, look, they have decorated their tree. So they're interviewing them to advertise when they're going from one city to another. They wanted to show the other cities that, look, we're not going to come fuck you up. Like, look at this.
يعطيك العافية.
يا هلا.
كيف الأجواء بحلب؟
والله كثير منيح الحمد لله.
Anyways, this is, and then they start, the girl, like, these are Al-Qaeda and ISIS. You see non-hijabi, they will hit the girl with a stick in the head. All right, so these people are like interviewing the non-hijabi girl. Anyways, I'm not going to continue because I'm going to do the rest. I'm going to do more like this in the next stream. I'm going to cover all of this. That's what's happening in Syria. But again, guys, I'm not naive to say that I don't know what's going to happen. Like some are like, oh yeah, as soon as they get Syria, the same people are going to go, like they're going to go full Al-Qaeda mode, but back to Al-Qaeda mode. Again, we don't know. They might continue like this. They might not. Some people are saying they will continue because the leader, the Abu Muhammad Jolani, when he was ruling over Idlib, he was ruling like this for a couple of years. So it's not like this is new. But they might continue being like this. They might not. They might pull a Khomeini and then switch. But nobody knows. So if you're certain, you're wrong. If you consider both of these to be possible, then you're right, because nobody knows what's going to happen. Anyway,
I just want to say that, like, anyone who is tone policing, like any Syrians that are celebrating this need to absolutely go fuck off. Like it is so inappropriate. Like to me, it's as disgusting as like how people treated the, Iraqi mothers that were sobbing with joy when Saddam fell. Like, oh, they're native informants, they're with the West, blah, blah, blah. These educated leftists that think that they know so much better than the populations who have been under the thumb of absolute tyranny and high surveillance mind fuckery for decades. Like, how dare you? How dare you? These people deserve their moment of joy, seeing the people that made their lives hell and a permanent state of fear, a republic of fear. They deserve that. If you're legitimately being like, oh well, actually this that, like, I think that is so inappropriate. Because the real world doesn't fit into our neat little perfect boxes of what we think is right or who is the right player to do it. And it didn't happen the way that I like. It doesn't fit neatly and perfectly into my little regime of thought, blah, blah, blah. I hate that. I really, really hate that. Being like, oh, because you're celebrating this, that means that you support the Islamists, blah, 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 blah. So you have no idea what these people have been through. You have no right to dictate, how they celebrate this moment. We don't know what's coming next, but they deserve this. Yeah, that really makes me mad. Really makes me mad. Who are you? Who are you to freaking tell someone that because their dictator didn't fall the way that you like, that they're not allowed to celebrate? So gross.
Exactly. By the way, somebody in the chat was saying that hold on, let me see if I could find this, because somebody, oh yeah, I found it. Good. Somebody in the chat was saying it's weird. I heard Palestinians are happy as well, weirdly enough. That is not weird at all. Look at this. This is the confusion. Hold on. Not this one. This one, sorry. This is the confusion that the axis of resistance has to always deal with, because they are pro-Assad, they're Shia, but Ismail Haniyeh and many Palestinians were pro the enemies of Assad. They're holding the flag of the rebels against Assad. Ismail Haniyeh, when he was the leader of Hamas, the political leader of Hamas when he was alive, he was pro the enemies of Assad. This was always a source of contention, a source of disagreement between Muslims regarding Palestine and the axis of resistance. Bashar al-Assad was the main divider, and I'm going to do more shows showing the divide between Muslims on the situation with Bashar al-Assad. So for more shows. Susanna has also given me a lot of stuff to work with on future streams.
Yeah.
So look forward to that as well. Anyways,
it's not a monolith. Like some Palestinians hated Assad for what he did to murder a bunch of Palestinians, like in Syria. So
yes. The Palestinians are also divided on this. Like Ismail Haniyeh was pro the axis of resistance. No, not Ismail Haniyeh. So what is Yahya Sinwar? But Ismail Haniyeh was a little bit more on the other side. It's confusing right now. We're not going to get into it because we have to get into the news. Susie, what news are we covering today?
This person is hilarious. He's basically saying that I'm woke because I was just criticizing leftist woke tankies.
What? She's a white girl? What the fuck?
Telling people what to do. I'm literally here saying that if you're dictating about how other people celebrate this, I sometimes think people just see like a young white girl and they're like, oh, she must be woke. Like, I know how I look.
Yeah, but it's good because it's good to show how ridiculous and stupid some people on the red pill and the right side are. They're like, oh, this is woke, that's woke. Like they're so like, the brain dead people are not just on the woke side. On the right side, we have a lot of brain dead people that just see something that they can't understand. Like, oh, is that a woke? Like,
I mean, I know how I look. When a lot of people meet me, they assume my politics because half the time I dress look like a 90s little grunge girl. Okay. They think I'm going to be some
Wait.
leftist, and then I'm like, based.
I don't understand. We don't like all white girls are woke leftists in their mind. I don't understand. Like, we don't have right-leaning white girls. Is that how they think? I don't understand. This is stupid. Too stupid for me to understand. Anyway, anyways, you look great. As people are saying, like, you said you know how I look, and people are saying Susie is beautiful and precious. Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That just made me so awkward. You made my awkward jump out. Okay,
Mhm.
let's cover that up and move on to our first news.
Yes, I'm trying to do that. What kind of news? What countries? What religions? What type of news? Happy,
We are
sad,
talking about
tragic,
news
or...
from France. Two big things from the UK. A very important news from Iran, and a W, because I like to bring a W, from our side, the anti-Islamist side, and a W in Germany.
Oh wow, Germany W. That's good. That we have so many W's today. That's great.
Yeah,
we need that. Okay. See that the fall of Assad has brought us a lot of blessings. May it continue, guys. Can I just say one more thing? Ever since October 7th, remember on October 7th, people were acting like, "Oh, the axis of resistance is victorious. This is the end. Look how weak and pathetic Israel is. It's all over." The illusion that Israel or the West or liberal countries were powerful is now over. We proved with October 7th how weak our enemies are. I mean, yeah. I mean, you fuck around a little bit and you think that you're powerful. A mosquito might. Yeah, and then you find out. You're like a little mosquito that you caused some annoyance, and you think you're so powerful. And now that you're being chased you're being chased around and squashed, you're like, oh fuck, I didn't understand. This is the true representation of fuck around and find out. Truly.
It's
1 year.
Crazy. Yeah. The world looks so different than it did in just August. It's kind of mind-boggling. I kind of can't comprehend.
They try to humiliate Israel. And for 1 year, they're regretting everybody on the axis of resistance is regretting of October 7th. They thought that they made
Israel
for
a lot longer than 1 year.
Yeah.
They're going to be regretting this for a couple decades straight.
Yeah. This is, and I don't know if this translates well into English, but in Persian they said that they're eating their own shit. Basically, they shit around everywhere, and now they're being made forced to eat it because they're like, you have shit everywhere, right? Anyways, I don't know if that translated well into English. That's a Persian thing. Anyways, can we clap for
reaping what you sow?
Reaping what you sow. Yeah. So you see, the Persian versions need to be a little bit more aggressive and gory. Like we cannot have that. We cannot have it.
What I love about it is that Persian culture is so big on etiquette. Like, politeness and etiquette is so important, but then the sayings are 10 times more explicit than anything I've heard in English. Okay, we really do need to get to the first news, though.
Yes, clappable.
It's clappable because some lies and fuckery are being exposed in the courtroom. Okay?
Yeah, okay. First news,
the Islamophobia lie that ended in beheading. Teen admits to full fabrication. Okay, so I'm going to give a background on the event and then take us into the present day with the courtroom for people who are unaware of what happened. The shocking 2020 murder of French school teacher Samuel Paty is back in the spotlight as new revelations emerge during an ongoing trial in Paris. The tragedy began with a devastating lie. A 13-year-old student falsely claimed that Paty, during a lesson on freedom of expression, singled out Muslim students and forced them to view caricatures of the Prophet Muhammad. In reality, Paty had warned all students in advance, giving them the option to opt out if they found the material offensive. The girl, who was not even present in class, fabricated the story to avoid trouble at home after being reprimanded by her parents. Her father, Brahim China, launched an online campaign accusing the teacher Pati of Islamophobia, and he was joined by Islamist activist Abdelhakim Seyfroueh. I don't know how to pronounce that last name. The action fueled a wave of outrage that accumulated in Abdullah Anzorov, an 18-year-old Chechen extremist, tracking Pati down and brutally beheading him in a Paris suburb. The murder horrified France, sparking national debates on free speech and extremism. Now, as the trial it unfolds, the girl, now 17, tearfully admitted the lie, apologizing to Pati's family, saying, "I'm sorry for destroying your life." The trial has also revealed the role of a broader radical network, with 8 individuals accused of fostering the hatred that led to this horrific act, including accomplices who helped Anzorov acquire weapons. So let me provide a little bit more background here. So, Samuel Paty was brutally murdered in October of 2020. And his killer traveled I think 60 kilometers or something. He traveled a long ways to come track down Paty. And then he brutally attacked him, stabbing him, decapitating his head from his body, and then posting images of it to social media, to Twitter. I will never get those images out of my mind. And threatening Emmanuel Macron, basically saying, this is what happens to infidel dogs like you, blah, blah, blah. And so then the attacker, Anzorov, was killed in a shootout with the police. Anzorov had been a Chechen refugee in France who had lived in France since he was 6 years old. And he committed this act when he was 18. At which point his body was shipped to be buried in Chechnya, and his funeral was attended and celebrated by hundreds. So what happened was that there was a trial, and all of the children that were involved in what happened to Samuel Paty, because there were a number of minors that were involved in what happened, including the girl that lied, and I'll get more into that later, as well as 2 children that went to that school who identified Paty to the killer. They all had a trial a few years ago, maybe a year and a half ago-ish, if I had to judge, and we covered that trial. Well, now there's a second trial that's happening, and this second trial is to prosecute all of the adults that were involved in what happened to Paty, including the father of this girl, including people that provided weapons to the killer, including people that were involved in social media campaigns to incite this campaign against Paty, including an Islamist activist, and one woman. And I'll get into the profile of who some of these people are. So it's 8 adults, 7 men and 1 woman are now part of this trial for the adults. And so this new kind of news happened in the context of this new trial, which will continue until the end of December, I believe. And this is really, really important because now more information about what happened is coming out in the trial, which I am really thankful for, because there's always a little bit of a barrier because of the language difference, right? And the more details that come out about this story and what happened to Samuel Paty are so blood boiling, it's actually hard to comprehend. So basically, this girl was getting in trouble. This girl, she was 13 years old, was getting in trouble at school. She was getting suspended, and she wasn't attending class. And so she was getting in trouble for that. And when she was going home, and her parents were like reprimanding her for how she's getting in trouble at school, she told this lie. And she was like, oh, well, this is only because our teacher is forcing us to look at Prophet Muhammad cartoons and like kicking us out of class and basically like discriminating against us because we're Muslim. And she continued this lie for a long time. For I think over a week, because it only took the span of a little more than a week from when she first lied to when he was killed. And so here's some details. So basically he was doing a civics lesson about, you know, what's important as a member of the French Republic, what Republican values are to the French, and one of them is secularism, laïcité, you know, preservation of free speech, etc. These are very central values. And so he was giving a lesson on this. And so she goes home one day, 2 days after he originally gave this lesson, where he did not kick Muslim students out of the classroom or anything. He just merely said, if you are not comfortable with this, you're free to turn away. Or if you would like, you can even like leave the classroom or whatever. He was very flexible on that, right? So 2 days later, as she was being scolded by her mother for being temporarily suspended, the girl retorted that Paty had forced students to view the Charlie Hebdo cartoons and had excluded her when she complained. In reality, she had never even attended the class in which the students were shown the caricatures, and no Muslim students had ever been ordered out of the classroom. Quote, in the grip of panic and stress, I told my mother that we had seen the cartoons and that I did not agree and that I had been excluded. I did not want to disappoint my parents by telling them I was doing a lot of stupid things, she told a Parisian court in the hearing. Less than 2 weeks later, Paty was lying dead in the street with his head hacked from his shoulders. So it starts off with her just lying to her parents. And then her dad seizes on this. The schoolgirl's falsehood was seized by her father, Brahim China, who is now on trial with 7 other adults. He stands accused of launching an online harassment campaign against Paty and is facing charges of association with a terrorist organization. That evening, China began posting about Paty's alleged conduct and called for action against him. So the same evening, she first tells that lie. In the first clip, he shared on social media, and he's saying to the camera while he's masked, I decided to make this video following the fact that my daughter was shocked by her teacher's behavior. I don't like to use the term teacher. He is a thug of history. He went on to recount the fabricated tale that he forced Muslim students out of his classroom and that his daughter refused to go and was shown a picture of the Prophet Muhammad naked. What is this hatred, he declared. The post attracted the attention of Abdul Hakim Sefrioui, an Islamist preacher who had partnered with China, the father, and asked to film his daughter repeating her claims. Quote, he asked if he could film me. I didn't think that he was mean, so I accepted. I repeated my lie, the girl reportedly told the court. They also pushed the 13-year-old to file a police complaint against the teacher, and she did so, repeating the lie for a 3rd time. As a result, Paty was called to the police station, telling officers he was confused as to why a student had made an allegation against him, given that she wasn't even in his classroom on that day. Meanwhile, the father and this Islamist preacher continued to spread the allegations about Paty's supposed Islamophobia with the aim, according to the prosecution, of designating a target, provoking feelings of hatred, and thus preparing several crimes. Within 2 days of the campaign of the harassment, the father came into contact with the killer, with the pair calling one another 9 times, the police investigation has shown. A little more than a week after the father began spreading his daughter's lie, the killer traveled from his home to prepare for the bloody assault. He traveled like over 80 miles or something. Some of his friends helped him acquire weapons and so forth. And then the murder happened, and then this girl was still repeating the lie. She was repeating the lie for up to 30 hours after Paty was murdered, and only admitted that she had lied and was lying after 2 interrogations. So, yeah, the schoolgirl whose fabricated tale started the entire saga told the court in Paris yesterday she had learned of her teacher's death while watching the news that evening. She was later sent a picture of Paty's lifeless and headless body. I collapsed in my sister's arms. I collapsed in my mother's arms. I called my father. I felt his trembling voice, she said. The next day, I learned on television that my father was in police custody. Even after Paty's murder, the girl doubled down on her story. It was only after 30 hours in police custody and 2 separate bouts of questioning that she finally confessed the truth. My teacher had been decapitated. My father was in police custody, and I couldn't say it was false, she admitted. So this whole incident has had massive, massive shockwaves throughout France. So this girl and a few of the other minors that were involved in this murder already had their trial and they were sentenced. And most of them received 18-month suspended sentences for their involvement. There was only one of these minors who had the harshest punishment, which was basically to be monitored for a specific period of time, which is crazy. So now, however, the adults are facing much, much harsher penalties. And I'll get into that in a second.
The punishment that you mentioned are for the kids?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What is the 13-year-old girl? What is she getting?
During her trial, she was sentenced to, I believe, an 18-month suspended sentence.
What does that mean? Like, what's going to happen?
I believe that means she just walks.
Oh. Okay. So what do you think is like? Some people are saying she's a child, so that's fair, given that she's a child. What do you think? Like Jean, for
example, my God.
Jean
I mean, you can go see how I felt when that sentence came down when we covered that trial. I was like, this is an absolute robbery of justice. Are you freaking kidding me? They just walk.
Jean is saying, I don't know how to feel about the girl at 13. I don't think she could understand what would happen. What do you think about what Jean is saying?
Look, I don't know. I don't know what the standards are in France. I know what some of the standards are in the United States. And depending on the situation, someone that's age could get 100% tried as an adult. Like, I think that the consequences of this murder are so far-reaching within French society that you have to make a strong example of what happened, especially considering everything that goes on in France nowadays. Are you kidding me?
So, yeah, I think like people think about what's fair, but I usually think the liberal way to think about these things is not justice or fairness. I think that what you should think about are consequences rather than, I'm a consequentialist, and as a consequentialist, I think like the words fairness and justice are things that we should not be focusing on. We should be focusing on what actions will have the best consequences, will result in the highest amount of deterrence without being too costly at that moment, like basically doing a cost benefit analysis. And given how the direction that France is going, I know she's 13, but this is not about her. This is about sending a message, sending a signal for not tolerating shit like this. So to me, I don't care about whether this is fair to her or not. What I care about is, if I was the judge, I would think about the rest of France, and I need to send a message of lack of tolerance for this shit. So I would make an example of her regardless of what I feel about her. I don't give a shit about her. I'm thinking about France if I was the judge. So I would make it as harsh as possible to send a signal, to send a message that we're not going to be like, oh, she's a child, oh, she didn't know what they're doing. When it comes to shit like this, we don't fuck around. We don't fuck around.
Not at all.
That's what I would do. Yeah.
For this kind of thing, you need extremely strong deterrence. Extremely strong deterrence. Right. What kind of precedent does it send if there are segments of society that know that they can lie on their teachers, have their lives threatened by freaking radicals in the nation, and basically walk on a suspended sentence? And because they're minors. I don't know if people know the extent to which there will be adults in children's life that will exploit the status of them being a minor because they know that they will be hit with less. We see this a lot within drug trafficking, for example, because they know that the child is going to be tried with less, so they just make the children the mules or whatever, so that it's easier to continue. I know that that's not, obviously like a completely analogous situation, but just as a case in point of some of the issues with minors in the justice system, I don't know. So, wait, I want to get some information on what kind of sentencing the adults are facing. Because
Dee was saying her father should be jailed.
Oh, well, easily.
While you look for that, yes,
go ahead.
I'm just gonna answer Weaker's question. Weaker is saying, I don't know what drives these people to do such things. Well, I give you a guess. Do you guys want to guess? The people in the chat? Like, I think Weaker herself or himself kind of knows. What guys, what do you think drives people to do such things? It starts with an I. It ends with an M.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, people. Yeah, okay, good. Islam.
No, but it's more than that, Armin. It's more than that. And this will be a theme that comes up in a story we cover later today, which is purposefully weaponizing your status as a so-called minority within a society to be able to capture power. That's what it is.
Yes. Yeah. But all the other elements. So first of all, here's how it works. Okay. The short answer is Islam. The long answer is everything in society is multifactorial. It cannot be reduced to one factor. But every other factor that you want to name, I know they did have some effect into making stuff like this happen. But everything else that you name other than Islam are present in other places as well. I'm not denying that they didn't have an effect. I'm just saying that you don't see behavior like this most of the time in other places where all these other elements that you could point to, all these other factors that you could put your finger on, exist in other places, and you don't see people being beheaded in the same number that you see people being treated like this when you have Islam. So I'm not denying that it's multifactorial. I'm just saying the Islam factor is basically what pushes it to making this stuff happen more than any other factor. Because anything else that you name, I'll show you that they exist in other places, and you don't see behavior like this, at least not to this level. So the main factor is Islam.
That's fair. With other identity groups, if you are accused of some sort of bias or bigotry against them, I don't know, maybe you get chased out of your job, unfairly terminated. And that does happen, and that's horrible to a lot of people. But no, I mean, this dude was literally beheaded in the street. His head posted to Twitter saying this is what happens to infidel dogs. Yeah, I mean, it's different. Let's not kid ourselves.
Yeah.
So the girl herself was sentenced to 18 months of probation last December. 18 months of probation. She was convicted of slander. The other teenagers were also faced with suspended sentences. One of them had to be committed to a certain amount of months of electronic monitoring I'm having a hard time figuring out what the sentences of the adults are facing, but my memory is telling me from reading all this stuff yesterday that I think the father and maybe that Islamist preacher are facing like 30 years. But don't quote me on that because now I'm having a hard time tracking it down. One thing I would like to do if we have a little bit of time. Yeah, we have a little bit of time. Is to go through the profile of some of the 8 defendants of the adults, because this is brand new information that we're getting now, that this case of what happened to Samuel Paty is like very important to me. And so every time there's new information because of these trials, I really want to cover that thoroughly. So there are 8 defendants aged 22 to 65, and they will be appearing in the special court over the next several weeks, and the trial is projected to end around December 19th. So we'll be hearing about this again soon. Okay, so the others who will appear for terrorist criminal association risk a maximum of 30 years for criminal imprisonment. Of criminal imprisonment. So there are some of these that will be facing 30 years. So, okay, first defendant, Naeem Boudaoud is a 22-year-old Frenchman, is being prosecuted of complicity in terrorist murder, described by the prosecution as vulnerable, impressionable, and without any visible signs of violent radicalization. He provided various services to his friends, such as the killer and another person that assisted the killer. The day before the attack, he took the jihadist to a cutlery store to buy a knife similar to the one found on the scene. The day of the attack, he accompanied the killer to a store to buy airsoft guns and steel pellets. Azam Epsirkhanov. This 23-year-old Russian of Chechen origin who arrived in France in 2010 is the second person accused of complicity in the terrorist murder. According to the prosecution, he helped actively and accompanied the killer, his friend since middle school, in a search and the purchase of weapons. And he also was going to help the killer obtain a handgun, but failed to do so. Then the father, Brahim Chinina, aged 52 and of Algerian nationality. He's the father of the schoolgirl at the origin of the controversy. Co-founder of the association Aide Moi to accompany people with a reduced mobility to their pilgrimage to Mecca. Brahim Chinina was accused of having orchestrated a cyberbullying campaign against the teacher. He targeted him in videos indicating his name and the name of the school. The father also had 9 telephone messages with the terrorist. That's crazy. That's new information that I have never heard before. And I don't know. I really want to know more about how well they were connected to this freaking jihadi. In detention since the murder, so he's been in jail since 2020. He presents himself as a victim, rejecting any responsibility for the facts for which he is accused. Abdelhakim Sefrioui, the 65-year-old Franco-Moroccan, is an Islamist activist and founder of the pro-Hamas collective Sheikh Yassin, dissolved in October of 2020. Abdul Hakim is accused of having participated in the development and dissemination of videos presenting false and distorted information intended to arouse a feeling of hatred against the teacher. He risks 30 years in prison. Basically, they're saying that he's being, persecuted unjustly. This one is interesting. Priscilla Mangel. She is the only woman among the accused. She converted to Islam at the age of 16. She's now 36, known for belonging to the radical Islamist movement. The prosecution accuses her of having discreetly exchanged on Twitter with the killer, presenting Samuel Paty's course as the illustration waged of the war by, this is like translated from French, the illustration of the war waged by the Republican institutions against the Muslims. These messages allegedly reinforced the assailant in his plan. Next is Yusuf Sinar. The 22-year-old Turkish national is accused of having shared with the killer in a Snapchat group dedicated to jihadist propaganda. So this group broadcasted after the attack. the killer's message claiming responsibility was sent to this group chat. And this Turkish dude dropped out of school and has been living off of drug trafficking since then, since he was 14 in France. Ismail Gamanev, age 22, this Russian of Chechen origin, entered France illegally in 2013 and had refugee status since 2020. The prosecution accuses him of having actively participated in this Snapchat group with the killer, where messages with jihadist content were exchanged. In particular, he allegedly reinforced the killer in his assassination plan. When the images of the attack were broadcast in this Snapchat group, he reacted to the images with smiley emojis. And finally, there is Lukman Ingar. He is accused of having administered and actively participated in the Snapchat group with the jihadist content. According to the prosecution, this 22-year-old man was accused of considering to leave France and to go to Afghanistan or Syria to join a terrorist organization. So, yeah, the damn saying, does France just let anyone in? Yeah, that's kind of a pattern I've noticed going through the list of those people standing trial, unfortunately.
Yeah, how did these people get in France? This is so, like, what the fuck are you guys doing there? Like, how are you? Just like, is it just opening the doors? Like, do you even check? I don't understand.
Yeah. So I don't know. I wanted to really go into the details of this case. I think it's really important. Yeah, D is saying something important. All these terrorist social media groups, while the UK hurdy words take you to prison. Amazing. Yeah. Basically. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to apologize for the fact that I hope they freaking throw the book at these people, put them under the jail for all I care. This is a situation where the strongest deterrent possible is 100% justified. In fact, I think it is morally required.
Yeah, completely agree. By the way, Carl apologized to you in a super chat for calling you. Yes. Do you want to read that?
Carl Schler. Thank you for the super chat. Sorry for calling you woke, Susanna. Personal feelings of indignation are no argument to tell other people what to do. That's what I meant. Carl, that's literally what I was communicating to other people, though.
Yeah, she was saying to other people not to do that. That was what the position that you're holding was the position that Susanna was taking.
Towards people that I assume, based on your statements, you would also find morally objectionable.
Yeah. So she was telling people that you're saying you shouldn't tell people what to do, and Susanna was saying you shouldn't tell people in Syria not to celebrate. So what the hell? Okay. Anyways. Oh, by the way, we have to remember.
No, how dare you tell them that they can't tell people what to do? How about that?
But then in that case, we could tell Carl, well, then how dare you tell Susanna not to?
It's you.
Okay. Wait, we have to look at the comments that Dee picked for us. I do want to highlight some of the comments.
Yeah, this person responded. Yeah, basically, she admitted that she was lying. I mean, we knew that she was lying. This is not new, but her taking to the stand and making more statements about it on the stand is what's new. I mean, absolutely speechless. That poor man. I think about his son.
Right.
I think about his wife. Rita Panahi was okay, so she was just tweeting about the facts of the case. Okay, scroll down.
Yes, the comment. By the way, Rita is great.
Saying this is barbaric, not just the child's lies, but the belief murder is a remedy. Facts.
Yep. Facts.
This person responded, I'm horrified. The father of this lying little cow is a monster. He didn't even bother to call the school to find out what's going on. I hope he rots in jail. Well, the defense of the father is they're like, oh, well, we didn't want this. We were just asking for administrative action against him. That's why we went to the police to file a complaint. Sure.
I
had 9 phone calls with the jihadist murderer. Okay, sure.
I know people will find this ridiculous, but I need to say this. What the fuck do you have against cows? Okay, cows are amazing. How is that an insult? Okay, so there's that. Stop the cow phobia. Like, why are animals an insult? Animals are great. Anyways, so this one.
Well, this person just said, "Dear God, they live among us." I'm not exactly entirely sure what they mean by that.
Yeah, I don't know what that means either.
People that will weaponize their status as a minority and religious class to be able to inflict and garner power on top of others. Sure, yeah, there's a lot of people like that live among us.
Sina in the live chat was saying, to be fair, so when I said the problem is Islam, Sina posted this, said, to be fair, Muslims in America are much more chill. There's something about some of these European Muslims, man. I don't know what went wrong there. Okay, Sina, the problem with European Muslims are Islam. If you see some Muslims either in Europe or in America being chill, that doesn't mean that the problem is not Islam. That means that they are being less Islamic. The more chill a Muslim is, that is not evidence that Islam can be chill. That's just evidence that some Muslim can be less Islamic. That many Muslims actually can be less Islamic. Okay, so this doesn't save Islam, these examples. Someone who got a super chat this by saying, I can't believe this from the religion of peace. So that's funny.
Completely unprecedented.
Yeah, what the hell? We've never seen this before. Yes.
Sorry, it's so grim. Sometimes you just need like dark humor to get through stuff where it's like, where did he ever come up with this idea?
Islam and violence? What the fuck?
Beheading?
Anyways,
shocking.
Things in Islam. Shocked. Anyways, do you want to read this one from Sam? Sam, by the way, is Iranian. He just came from the Persian. I was doing a live stream on the Persian channel, and he hopped over from there to here. So you want to read this one?
Darud. Merci, Sam. Kheli mamnoon for the super chat. Sam, thank you for the super chat saying, is it possible to ask the people of the world, do you have to experience it like the people of the Middle East in order to understand how dirty Islam is? Do you have to be? No. Do you probably get special insight or a personal chip on your shoulder, for lack of a better term? Maybe.
Sam is just trying to come here and tell you that he's more aware than the rest of you because he's in the Middle East, he's in Iran, and he truly understands how vile Islam is, and he's just telling you that I know more than the rest of you. That's what Sam said.
I mean, let's be fair. Like, I know white girls who were raised in extreme Salafist households in the middle of like suburban freaking Australia, right? They're not from the Middle East, and they definitely have experienced it. They definitely have that special insight. This is okay. So now that I know that he was on the Persian side and then came over here because you were doing the stream like right before you started the English side, this makes sense. He's like, Susanna, if you were not in a hurry, why did you steal Armin? Because he said this before the show, and I'm like, what are you talking about? I didn't steal him.
Yeah. We were covering the stuff the stuff that is happening in Syria on the Persian channel, and then I told people that I need to go to the English channel, and people were like, what the hell you're going? There's like the Assad has fallen. We need, like, where the fuck you're going? We need to continue the stream. I'm like, guys, I have the news show, I have to go. So that's why a lot of people
gotta
hopped over
go.
on this side. I gotta go.
We have to prep before the stream.
Yes. And also, Amir is saying, don't forget to like the stream. Yes, guys, please, please, please like the stream. Appreciate that.
Thank you, Amir.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Amir. Okay, so we did everything on this first one. Oh, we're going to the UK now, hey?
Oh, yes. And I am going to... I'm going to have a lot to say.
Mm.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. We got 2 more super chats. Should we do the super chats first before we go to the next? Yeah, let's do the super chats.
No, let's
you
keep
wanna
them
do
to
the
the next
first?
one.
Okay, we're gonna do the news first, and then we're gonna go back to the super chats. And Amir is already excited to like rant. Okay.
Low
All
key,
right.
I might be calling out people in the UK.
Oh. Okay. Clappable.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I mean,
Next news.
because I'm going to rip someone a new asshole. Okay.
All right.
Okay,
all
let's
right.
clap.
Oh,
Clap with me.
next news.
Next news. UK MP wants blasphemy laws. Is free speech at risk in the UK? Obviously, it's been at risk. Some could argue that the UK already has a blasphemy law, just now people are talking about it being official. Let's be honest. A recent parliamentary exchange in the United Kingdom has sparked alarm over potential reintroduction of blasphemy laws, with Labour MP Tahir Ali urging Prime Minister Keir Starmer to consider measures prohibiting the desecration of religious texts and figures from Abrahamic faiths. Citing, quote, Islamophobia Awareness Month and a UN resolution condemning such acts, Ali urged that desecration, quote, fuels division and hatred within our society. While Starmer condemned desecration as awful, his refusal to categorically dismiss the idea has raised concerns among critics, including the National Secular Society, which warned, quote, calls for the legal protection of religious texts and figures should be seen for what they are, a demand for the reintroduction of blasphemy laws. Advocates for free speech emphasized that such laws threaten democratic freedoms and urged the government to ensure tackling hatred does not infringe on the right to free expression. So, Armin, let's go to the video I asked you to download. One of the videos that Dean found for us.
Is it this one?
Then we will unpack. Yeah. So let's watch his statements ourselves, and then we can dive in.
Okay, I'm going to let you click the play button, so you're in control.
Ali. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. November marks Islamophobia Awareness Month. Last year, the United Nations Human Rights Council adopted a resolution condemning the desecration of religious texts, including the Quran. Despite opposition from the previous government, acts of such mindless desecration only serve to fuel division and hatred within our society. Will the Prime Minister commit to introducing measures to prohibit the desecration of all religious texts and the prophets of the Abrahamic religions?
Can I agree with him that desecration is awful and I think should be condemned across the House? We are, as I said before, Mr. Speaker, committed to tackling all forms of hatred and division, including, of course, Islamophobia.
Oh my God, go stuff it. Can we just first unpack that he's this freaking MP whose constituency that he represents is the second most Muslim constituency in the UK. Over 50%, I believe, is Muslim. Is explicitly and unapologetically asking for privileges within the law. That is 100% what it is. He is openly, with a bald face, asking for privilege under the law. That's what it is. Because he doesn't even, for the love of God, some of you freaking, I don't people that don't value your own freaking national, civic values, your own, like, at least pretend that they're trying to push for a law that, is against the desecration of all books. Some of them are at least smart enough to at least pretend that bullshit as if we don't all know what's going on. No. But he takes it a step further, and he says specifically prohibiting the desecration of religious texts and figures from Abrahamic faiths. The Abrahamics. Okay. Once again, that is like just one step above. Oh, it's all religious texts. As if someone is like, we're worried about someone desecrating the Bhagavad Gita or something. No. So no, but instead we're just making it about the Abrahamics. Okay, that is such bullshit. And protecting all Abrahamic prophets. Excuse me, who the fuck is blaspheming the prophet Ezekiel? Okay. You freaking liar! How stupid do you take us for? Are you kidding me? Who is like, oh my God, this offense to the prophet Isaac. I can't tolerate that. We know what the fuck you're doing. We're not stupid. It makes me so furious. Just, if you're gonna, just say it with your whole chest. We all know what this is about. Just come out and say it. Just literally come out and say it at this point. Just be like, yeah, no, I literally want privileges under the law for being Muslim. Full stop. Full stop. Just come out and say it, because that's what you're already saying, especially when the next few words that come out of your mouth are citing Islamophobia Awareness Month and that bullshit, shameful resolution from the United Nations Human Rights Council. Now, for those who don't know what he's referring to, back when there was a spate of desecrations and Quran burnings in Denmark and Sweden, was it about a year and a half ago? Where this caused huge international outrage. People were attacking Swedish embassies. They were attacking the Danish embassy in Iraq in the Green Zone. So then the United Nations Human Rights Council passed this resolution condemning the desecration of religious texts. At least they tried to frickin' pretend that this was about all religious texts. Like, oh my God, we're worried about the Guru Granth Sahib. Like, no, shut the fuck up. You're not. And at the time, Armin and I were outraged because we know what message that sends when the UN Human Rights Council passes that kind of resolution. And we are 100% proven right when we have that measure taken to show that these laws are legitimate and valid within liberal democracies. This is exactly why we object to those resolutions. Legislation, because not only does this validate blasphemy laws, apostasy laws that prohibit freedom of expression within freaking Muslim theocracy dictatorships, okay, it validates those by saying, oh no, we actually do need laws to protect from this kind of thing. We actually do need laws to protect from offense XYZ. Not only does that reinforce the barbarity within places like freaking Iran, but it then serves as a precedent to show that this is actually valid and accepted within the frameworks of the world liberal order, such as the platform of the table of the United Nations. And oh, well, look, the United Nations, which you all guys recognize as this table where the world comes together to agree on the norms and standards in which we all agree is part of the human rights afforded to all of us. Look, even they agree that this is completely necessary. They agree that this is completely right. Well, if you go into the details of who voted for that measure, certain things become extremely apparent very, very quickly about who is pushing this. Okay. And it's not the bastions of human rights. Okay. It becomes pretty freaking obvious. I know that we have a lot of viewership from the UK. We actually have a lot more viewership from the UK than we have traditionally. It's been very interesting and very cool. I'm gonna be completely honest, you guys, to my friends across the pond, as we say. Okay, I need you guys to stand up and be like talking openly, honestly, full-throatedly about how this is completely unacceptable. Like, I know that there are some people in the UK that are like, oh no, I can't talk about this because it's like dangerous or because of social consequences or blah 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 blah. Like, okay, so you're just fielding territory. You're just seceding territory. Like, at what if when you see this as a citizen in your nation from an MP and then the response from the Prime Minister himself, I'm going to ask you guys, as part of the citizenry, what more is it going to take for you to start speaking out very strongly about this? What more is it going to take? This, I honestly, like, if this should be sending chills down your spine. If this is not an absolute mandate to be raising a, a 5-star alarm. You know what I mean? What more is it going to take? I was reading a really interesting piece in The Spectator, and it was basically saying that, no, if you've been paying attention, we actually already have blasphemy law in the UK. Just now we're talking about it openly. And I thought that was very prescient because I actually basically agree. Because of what happened to the Batley Grammar School teacher who is still in hiding for accusations of blasphemy, still in hiding 3 years later because of failures to be protected by his school administration from freaking radical Islamists in their community. Okay. Because of what happened with the Lady of Heaven fiasco, where, admittedly, Shia weirdos in their own right wanted to make their own little propaganda movie, and the Sunnis flipped the fuck out and started threatening movie theaters to the point that, it's just vote by mob. You're just allowing vote by mob from Salafists. Like, people like the freaking Islamists have 5 pillars. Okay, that's what you're allowing. That's what you're allowing. But, they can kind of wipe that off because that's like an inter-Muslim little conflict thing. Like, we don't know what's really going on there. That sounds like a them problem, blah, 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 blah. You're allowing Muslims to enforce blasphemy upon other Muslims. That is just as insidious. You don't get that excuse. You don't get this excuse. What is this, freaking Pakistan? Give me a freaking break. Then we have the incident that happened, I think it was last year, where there was a kid with severe autism that accidentally scuffed a Quran, and his mother had to go appear in front of a local mosque and be begging, mother of this autistic child, begging the local community to not take it out on her child and her family. Because of a Quran that wasn't even damaged, that he just dropped, kicked, or scuffed it or something. You're already ruled by blasphemy norms. Apparently. Now you're talking about it out loud. And justifying it on the basis of Islamophobia Awareness Month and all this other shit. So I don't know what to say to people living in the UK besides, if this is not a firm mandate, I don't know what else will be. And here's the thing. As a member of the British citizenry, no one else can do this for you. Really internalize that. No one else can do this for you. You have to be willing within you and your communities to be able to stand up and refuse. and reject this. No one else can do that for you. So what more is it going to take? Okay, sorry. Armin, go ahead.
No, I mean, you said almost everything. I just wanted to add, imagine if when this guy said, if you're going to do anything, if you're going to criminalize blaspheming against Islam, imagine if you had a prime minister in the UK that stood up and said, looked around and were like, sorry, I thought for a second that this is the Parliament of Pakistan, because surely no member of the Parliament of the United Kingdoms would suggest that we criminalize speech. Like, this must be a dream. Either I'm in Pakistan or this is a dream. Don't tell me we have members of parliaments here that this country, which was one of the two main countries that was the foundation of liberal values, built upon the main principle of freedom of expression, has now in its parliament a member that is suggesting that we criminalize certain forms of expressions of thought. You must be joking. And if this is real, sir, you don't belong here. It's offensive to even have you here in this parliament. Imagine if you had a prime minister that stood up and said something like that.
That would never happen, because
Wouldn't
that's
that be-
racist, Armin. Oh my God, how dare you say that to, you know, an MP of his ethnic background? Oh my God. Apparently, it's that easy to shut someone down. Apparently, all you have to do is accuse these men of being racist and they just shut down. Apparently. I don't know. I mean, we're also talking about two-tier Kier here. I mean, are we? No one is surprised. Let's be completely honest. Absolutely no one is surprised. It's just the precedent is so chilling. I don't know if people know like how bad the consequences of merely having this conversation in open parliament is. The message that it sends to the constituents. It's so bad. It's so bad.
Yeah. By the way, we got a lot of super chats. But let's do these comments first. Before
I
the
just
comments
want to say something more. Like, there might be some people that are like, oh, Susanna, it's like all well and fine for you to say that. Like, you don't have to deal with this. Like, you are in a different country, blah, 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 blah. Like, you're not going to pay the cost. Like, I don't know. Part of me doesn't fully buy into that, in the sense that, like, because of what I do here on this show and with AR as an organization, like, I have paid a social cost. I've been faced with a lot. It wasn't fun. It wasn't great to go through, but it honestly wasn't that bad. It wasn't so bad that it was not worth speaking out. It wasn't so bad that it was not worth me standing for what I believe to be right. What I believe to be right for the most amount of people. You know what I mean? I did pay
what
a
if somebody
cost.
says
There were consequences, and I actually hold myself accountable for those consequences. I'm under no delusions.
What if someone says the consequences? Hold on. What if somebody says the consequences are higher in the UK than in the United States?
The consequences
I would say
of
that
silence are so much worse.
There you go. There you go.
I don't know. You know, and once you get over the hump, in my experience, maybe this is just me as an individual, like, once you get over the hump of like facing the social consequences and having the mud slung at you and the names and the accusations and the blah blah blah, at a certain point, like, it just rolls off the back. The idea of being accused of being racist is like so minuscule to me now. Water off a duck's back. So what? Give me a break. Is that the best you have? Am I supposed to fall apart because you flung an accusation that I have a racial bias against me, I'm supposed to fall apart. I'm supposed to cower. I'm supposed to turn away because you think that it's efficacious to, efficacious to just throw an accusation at me, and you expect that I will crumble merely on the basis of that. No, it's going to take a damn lot more than that. It's going to take a damn lot more than that. Because I'm firm in my convictions and I know what I do. I know what inspires me to speak out. Like it's oh yeah, people are talking about, oh, what's her name? Allison, her last name starts with an R. One thing that you guys have in the UK that maybe if you're interested in, you could join to help with some protection is the Free Speech Union. The Free Speech Union in the UK, I think is a way for people to help get some protections for these kinds of things. I don't know. Maybe people are going to say that I'm off base. Sure. I've just become, in a couple of other instances of observations I've seen in my life recently, really disgusted with people who are so willing to just turn away and cower merely because someone called them like racist or xenophobic or a fascist all of a sudden. That's all it takes, apparently. Tanya, it's annoying that people who are not from the UK think we British are just sitting there doing nothing. Of course, we are fighting. I'm waiting for the police to knock at my door any day now. Well, I let me be clear. I do not think that people are doing nothing. Obviously, we have certain movements. We do have movements within the UK.
Tommy, you have Tommy, for example.
Yeah. But it's just
she's not saying that nobody is not doing anything. Like, it's not like a generalization. Obviously not enough. So it's not enough people are just because you're doing something, that doesn't mean enough people are doing something. Not enough people in the UK are doing what Susanna is saying. You should, Tanya, I think you should agree with that. If you are doing something, you are a minority.
I think that is a good qualification, though, and I apologize if I made it seem like no one's doing anything, because I don't believe that's true. I do apologize for that. I want to call upon more people who have voiced that they're basically not going to say anything to act, because I want you to have more solidarity, Tanya.
Yeah, you need more support. Tanya needs more people on her side.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't like this attitude. Like, people are saying UK, you mean New Pakistan. Guys, make sure that you don't consider UK to be too far gone, not worthy of fight. This is the attitude that a lot of people have in Europe, that they think like, oh, it's over, right? It's gone. UK has fallen. London has fallen. And that attitude makes even a lot of people who agree with the problem, that attitude makes them not fight. Like, how pathetic that do you have to be to not want to try saving your country? Like, it's not UK is not Pakistan. Okay, make sure it doesn't become like Pakistan. It's not there. It's not there yet, and that's why you should stand up and fight for it. Fight for your country. People are saying defeatism. Fight for your country. Don't act like everything is lost. It's not. It's not. It's not lost. UK is not fallen. You should stand up for it.
So I'm laughing because I'm actually going to be visiting the UK soon next year, and I'm very excited for it. I love England. Yeah.
Do you want to redo these the comments that Dee has highlighted for us?
Yeah, so that was just like a recap of the video. So
recap.
Scroll.
This one, do you want to highlight the comment?
Hell yeah, I love this attitude from whoever this person is. You can F right off. It's my guess there'll be a national book burning if this is even entertained. Okay.
I hope
so.
Yeah. By the way, guys,
power in numbers, okay?
If anybody tells you that burning Qurans is fascistic because the Nazis burn books, first tell them that are they okay, and do they have any issues, and if they are not, anyways, I'm not going to say what I'm supposed to say because some people are going to have a problem, but some people are going to think I mean something else, but you know what I mean. If they are okay, if they're in the right mind, then explain to them that you fucking moron. Then if you are in the right mind, then you have no excuse not understanding that when Nazis were burning books used to be the main source of collecting information, to hold information, because we didn't have the fucking internet, we didn't have computers. If I burn like when the Nazis were burning books, first of all, it wasn't their own books, it was other people's books, and the intention was to delete information, is to censor, is to remove information that they do not want. If you burn the Quran, these are people that are just looking at surface level similarity and don't understand that the Nazis burning books is the removal of access to information. Today, we have the fucking Quran everywhere. There are free apps of the Quran. It's on the internet. Burning a Quran is not meant for removing access to it. It's a symbolic thing. It's not for censorship. Who the fuck in the world will have not access to the Quran because somebody somewhere symbolically burned the Quran? These are not remotely the same thing, you fucking idiots. In fact, I burned the Quran, and I have Qurans that I keep for references. Like even though I burned the Quran, I haven't even censored the Quran in my own home. That is such a dumb point to make. Such an idiotic point to make. Anyways.
You're like, I have one for desecration and one to read and reference.
For reference, exactly. Yeah, if one day somebody tried to censor the Quran with no access to it, I would be like, no, fuck that shit. We need this book. We need to study this book. We don't want to censor it like the way that the Nazis did. But if I burn it symbolically, yeah. And also, if I burn the Quran, it's my Quran. The Nazis were burning other people's properties, like the way Muhammad was destroying other people's idols, right? So the Muhammad from Islam is more like the Nazis because he went and destroyed other people's properties. If I burn the Quran, it's my property. I didn't go. If you go and take someone else's Quran and burn it, that's a crime. If it's my Quran that I purchased with my own money, that's not a crime. Anyways, this one.
I'm not even sure I fully get this. It's saying, keep going, Britain. Chase all your best over to America like last time. Is the implication that this will cause people to don't move to America?
Yeah. I mean, the UK is having a lot of, and Canada also, a lot of people are going from the UK to US and from Canada to US for better opportunities.
Well, yeah, I mean,
right.
the UK is going to lose more millionaires this year than gain them. But that's, because of economic stuff. That's kind of a separate.
But no, it's not separate. They're related. When you suffer culturally, you will suffer economically. Everything at the end of the day is economic. When the values of your countries are being challenged, people sometimes say like, "Oh, we're bringing all these immigrants." If you argue that this is good for the economy, we are willing to sacrifice our economy to fight for our values. I don't agree with that. At the end of the day, everything is economics. Our lives are economics. Better values bring better economics. If you have people with shit beliefs, you better believe that it's going to show its effect. Short term, maybe you will see. I mean, not even in short term in Europe, but even if in short term, if you see some benefits, with new studies, we're saying that we're not seeing short-term benefits from immigrants from the Middle East and North Africa for Europe. But even if you did, long-term, it will fuck up your economy because lower values bring lower economies. Anyways, look, this one.
This person is saying, this is definitely an attack on free speech under the guise of Islamophobia. I mean, obviously. Next,
Let me
well, next will be
No, there's nothing.
fines. What do you?
Oh, this one? Oh,
Yeah.
sorry. I thought you read the whole thing. Sorry. Go on.
Next will be legislation, and then comes their favorite part: fines.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I thought when you said next, I thought you were saying go to the next comment. I didn't realize what was happening. We got a lot of super chats.
A
But thank
boatload
you,
of
guys.
super chats. Let's go through these.
Yeah,
Thank you,
thank you.
everyone. The super chats go a very long way in supporting our show. So thank you very much to everyone.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go to this one first. GJ is saying, WTF off topic. I'm fuming because the 45 suspects of anti-Semitism threats and violence during the, all the chaos in Amsterdam. A soccer match won't be prosecuted for terrorism because they didn't want to scare Jews. GJ, can you maybe on Discord send more information about what you're referring to for context? Because I'm confused. And also, if there's information about how the prosecution of this case is evolving, that's very relevant to something we would want to cover. Left darker than Islam. Thank you for the super chat. Saying, why not we corner these woke leftists enabling Islam?
What does that mean?
I don't know what that means. I mean,
don't corner them. This is physical. Are you getting physical? Don't get physical.
Yeah.
This is kind of scary. What the hell?
Corner
them how?
Maybe why don't we counter them?
Counter them.
We talk about them and talk about that alliance and try to counter them all the time. Dan, let's go to this one first. Dan gave a super chat. Thank you, Dan, saying white female converts are their favorite converts. Nothing better than a girl who was free-spirited wearing swimsuits to hijab. They love it. I don't even know how much of it is about the degeneracy of the lifestyle before, so much as they like the features. They find
it's white fetish.
It's a beauty standard. Armin, in your opinion, does the the corruption of the lifestyle before matter as much as just the beauty standard?
No. It's a mix of white fetish and inferiority complex and dominating over an ethnicity that you felt inferior to by taking their woman.
Yeah. Dan gave another super chat saying Muslim actors and actresses in Bollywood are very liberal and mixed with Hindus. They go to Hindu festivals and many are totally fine with their female relatives intermarrying with Hindus. So Muslims can be liberal. 100%. 100%. And also, what people don't realize or talk about as much is that the practice of Islam is very different within the South Asian context than, say, an Arab context. And I know several South Asian Muslims who actually push back against how the practice of Islam has changed within their lifetime as it's become more Islamistized. They're like, this is not how we practice. You guys are trying to Arabize what we do within our faith. This is, which, people could contend for sure. I just think it's an interesting perspective. And to the point that there are some sociologists that literally try to study what is different about Indian Muslims, because given how much of a population there should have been more of them that joined ISIS. Statistically, there should have been more Indian Muslims that joined ISIS, but there was such a proportionate lack of them that they're like, what we need to study, what's different about what is going on here that caused people to not join at the same rates as other populations. I think that's very interesting. Chris gave a super chat. Thank you, Chris, saying, I am an antichrist. I am a blasphemy for the UK.
Thank you for the generous super chat. That's a
Yeah,
very
thank you for
generous
this
super
very
chat.
generous super chat. Tezbot gave a super chat saying Summer is a treacherous C word. I'm going to be very curious to see how long his government lasts. How long can this hold out? I don't know.
Tell
John
us if you're from the UK. Tell us. Yeah.
John gave a super chat saying insult Abrahamic prophet. Jeremiah was a bullfrog. That is a silly joke. And I'm glad I knew what you were referring to. So I could pull it off. GJ, thank you for celebrating your membership, saying the UK punished underage grooming victims since the 80s. Yeah, that whole situation is enough to completely, I don't know, make you lose your mind. When I first heard about the grooming gang things, it was like when I was still in Antifa. And what is going on here? And I thought it was just complete like far right conspiracy. And then I actually started to research it and I was like, holy crap. Holy crap. It boggles the mind. Dan gave a super chat saying Islamization is already happening when we are eating halal meat and can't criticize Islam. There should be no place for halal meat and blasphemy. I think Armin would agree that there should be no place for halal meat because of the way that it is procured, right?
Yeah. Yeah, halal meat is animal abuse. And to be fair, I have to look into this. I think also kosher meat is also animal abuse. I was happy to see Denmark. Was it Denmark that banned both of them?
Well, the European, I don't know what commission it is. Some freaking government, extra government body that controls European standards has taken measures against kosher practices. And people flipped out.
Yeah. If you piss off religious Jews, but secular Jews are happy with you, you have hit the right balance, right? But yeah, both kosher and halal meat should be legal, in my opinion.
Next, can we please eradicate circumcision? Pretty please.
Yes.
Dan gave another super chat saying blasphemy is beautiful and emancipating. It liberates your mind when you see your God or prophet humiliated and mocked. For me, it's less about that and more about it being a principle. Like nothing is above scrutiny. Nothing is above mockery. Nothing is above satire. That is a very important element in the pursuit, the ongoing and permanent pursuit of truth. GJ is saying this is the UK absent a well-written constitution. You know, there's a lot to be said about that. There's a lot to be said about that. Gajan is celebrating his membership, saying, I keep my Quran next to World of Myths. Gajan sends me photos of all of his giant textbooks of world mythology. They look freaking badass. Like Armin, you would be so jealous of his collection, to be honest.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. That is pretty cool.
Dan gave another super chat. Thank you, Dan, being very generous, saying the UK is becoming Pakistan, Canada is becoming Khalistan, Quebec is coming the Middle East, North Africa. White people need to be smart about who they let in. Well, I mean, Armin kind of already expressed his contention about this way of looking at things earlier.
It's not white people.
Yeah, come on.
This is not a white people thing. This is an American thing. You should say Canadians, Americans, British people. Okay. Like, I mean, look at this. America is not that white, but it's not doing as bad as Europe, right? So, because this is not, guys, be careful about this. This is not white versus brown. This is liberalism versus Islam, okay? We have a lot of brown people that are aggressively liberal. So don't make this a white versus brown thing, Okay.
Yeah. So I just had like a instant flash of like all my Iranian friends that are the most hardcore secularists you've ever seen in your life.
Right.
GJ is saying, Susanna, I hope the UK won't ban you like Robert Spencer. GJ, you flatter me with assuming that I am nearly that important or well known.
Wouldn't that be a badge of honor? Like, wouldn't that be like pretty? If you become as big as Robert Spencer to be ban worthy, wouldn't that be like, hell yeah, I'm gonna put that in my resume? Like
Apparently,
yeah.
I've caught some attention.
Made it.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Like, you're famous if that happens. Yeah.
Too spicy for the UK. GJ gave me another super chat. Thank you. Saying economy minus France equals almost bankrupt minus euro collapse. What?
I have no idea what that means. I think
GJ, I have no idea what you're
this is-
talking about. I am sorry.
Yeah.
Full complete sentences, please. Asian gave another super chat saying, in my humble opinion, I think wealth and access to resources play a role in radicalization. The insane beliefs of the Taiping and Boxer rebellion and cultural revolution happened under economic stress.
Yeah, so it's multifactorial.
Is an element of this, but it's not. Some people use this argument to absolve the fundaments of Islam.
Yes.
And I have major contentions with that. But yes,
So,
the materialism does have a role.
Of course, guys. Of course, poverty. Like, again, this is so simple. Radicalism is multifactorial. Islam is a major factor. Do we get some radicalism when we have poverty? Yes. Do we get some radicalism when we have Islam but no poverty? Yes. Do we get the most radicalism when we have Islam and poverty? Yes. But Islam is a major factor. Given that many places are poor that don't have Islam and we don't have as much radicalism, we could see the difference. Obviously, poverty helps with radicalism, but in the modern times, nothing helps as much as Islam when it comes to radicalism. Nothing, even though we have other factors at play here, nothing is more influential as Islam is right at this moment right now. So it's pretty clear if you look at the data.
So Dan gave another super chat saying Indian Muslims do join ISIS. Zakir Naik is an Indian Muslim. He didn't join ISIS. I mean, he is an extremist, but he didn't join ISIS. Indian Muslims at least have seen Hindus as equals, celebrating their festivals like other Muslims who have never seen non-Muslims as equal. You know, I didn't say that they don't join ISIS. I'm saying that people that study radicalization have noted that they would have expected more to do so given the proportionate population within India. And they have seen a startling underrepresentation given other conditions.
Yes.
And they find that noteworthy.
Please also understand, not joining ISIS as much doesn't mean a lack of radicalization. It could mean a different brand of radicalization, right?
Yeah.
Like if we see a group of Muslims are joining ISIS less, that doesn't necessarily mean that they're not as radicalized. It means that their expression of radicalism might be in a different way.
Okay, so next super chat, Dan gave another one saying, can we hack Muslim nations' national TV stations and broadcast blasphemous anti-Islam cartoons to all Muslims? What will happen? Kaboom? I don't know what you are inferring with that. What's the utility of that?
Yeah.
What's the point?
No, yeah, we don't want to we don't, guys. What we're fighting for is our right to create the content, including blasphemous and insulting content, that other people who don't want to see it get to opt out of it. We don't want to force content. So this is the ask. If you don't like it, don't fucking watch it. Don't listen to it. Don't read it. If we force the content on people, then we don't have that argument anymore. Right? We are basically saying if you are offended by something, or if you don't like to see something, it is your responsibility not to see it. If your responsibility not to just not watch it, it's not my responsibility not to create it. If I go force somebody to see something that they don't want, then I don't have the moral high ground anymore.
Okay. GJ is saying, Susanna, I don't do Discord. Amsterdam's mayor equals a lifelong libtard, and the decision that the suspects didn't commit terrorism should be made in court, not the DA. Well, the DA does, at least, how things work here, they do have discretion in terms of what they prosecute on the basis of if they can secure a conviction. Maybe they don't think that they would be able to secure a conviction, and they have an interest in what's the word I'm looking for? Having a high conviction rate for the sake of their own credibility. But GJ, I think you have my email. Please email me information about this. You don't have to send it to me on Discord.
If you email
I'm actually very
Susanna,
curious
please
about
don't
this.
write full sentences with less capitalizations. Don't write formulas that she has to decode so she understands what you're saying. Anyway.
David the Goliath, thank you for the super chat, saying Muslims in Bollywood are not a good example of a liberal Muslim. They do not practice Islam and are more or less assimilated into Hindus. I have a contention with this because we want people to be as nominal within their religious practice as possible. That's my goal as an atheist.
Wait, no, but
if you're just a cultural Muslim
understand.
that's basically nominal, I'm like, hell yeah, the less religious people are in general, I like that more.
I think this is a self-contradiction, this super chat. So listen to this. I'm saying Muslims in Bollywood are not a good example of liberal Muslims. They do not practice Islam and are more or less assimilated into Hindus. I mean, isn't that what a liberal Muslim is? Isn't a liberal Muslim a type of Muslim that takes Islam less seriously? Like, isn't the more liberal you are as a Muslim, it's not because you have a better version of Islam. No, there is no better version of Islam. If you are a liberal Muslim, it's because you're living less Islamically. So if you're saying that these Muslims are assimilating with the rest of the population, that's what a liberal Muslim is to me, a Muslim that is not living Islamically. So I don't understand how is this a, maybe I'm misunderstanding what she's saying.
Yeah, personally, like I want people to just have like a cultural tie to their faith background.
To their faith? No, to their environment.
No, in the sense of like people are cultural Christians, they practice Christmas, no one gives
cultural, yes. Cultural, yes.
Secularized.
Yeah, cultural Hindus. Secularized Hinduism. Cultural Hindus, yeah.
I got no problem with that.
Yeah, me too. Okay. Okay. Okay, so we should move faster because we have 3 more news items. And is the rest UK again? Oh.
No. There should be an update. The next one is the Iran one.
Oh.
Yeah, sorry. That other one I moved to the end, just in case. Yeah. Yeah, perfect. I'm so excited to cover this one, guys. Because Armin got some information. Okay.
Wait, you have to remind me all the things that I told you because I want to make sure that I cover all the list. Okay, so ask me a question if I don't mention everything I told you already. All right. Clappable?
Clappable because I'm excited to talk about this. Like, we don't like this, but like you have some juicy stuff. It's gonna be juicy.
Yes, okay. Well, next news.
Next news, Iran's dystopian new hijab law. Iran's controversial new hijab and chastity bill has sparked widespread outrage, introducing harsh penalties for those who defy the Islamic Republic's strict dress code. Fines ranging from $285 to over $2,300, with additional penalties, including bans on accessing public services like renewing passports or driver's licenses. Critics argue the regime is exploiting women to fund regional proxies like Hamas and Hezbollah. Adding fuel to the fire, the bill controversially allows for volunteer groups, including Afghan citizens inside Iran, to enforce the dress codes on Iranian women, prompting backlash against perceived racial discrimination. However, human rights lawyer Sina Yousefi cautioned against reducing the issue to a racial debate, calling it a trap that distracts from the broader attack on human rights. As the nation awaits President Masoud Pezeshkian's decision, many hold him to his campaign promise to reduce pressure on women, urging him to block the law. So we've been talking about this hijab and chastity law for some time, as we have been following the progression of this law through new branches of the Iranian government. So this bill was officially approved by the parliament recently. And I believe that there is technically like one more civic step before it officially becomes law or something. I could be wrong. I'm not a student of the civic system of the Islamic Republic. That's besides the point. And it progressed. And there are some extra details about what's in this law that have caused massive outrage in Iranian society, to the point that when there was the update on this law earlier this week, Armin and I were talking about it. And Armin said to me, and this is what I want you to get into and explain yourself, sir. Armin said, I am now convinced that there are Zionists within the Iranian government because this law is
I was joking.
He's joking. He's joking. But he's saying it's so perfectly designed to cause division within the Islamic Republic and Iranian society. And Armin, please explain yourself, sir. Give us the full breakdown of what's going on here, because you have so much information from the Persian side of things that is not in English-speaking media, and what you told me had me like, All
right, guys, you have no idea how outrageous this new hijab bill is. When this bill was passed and the details came out, it seemed like it was specifically designed to cause maximum level of outrage among the Iranian people, which is amazing because after the Mahsa revolution, some people would have thought that this government would backtrack a little bit because the anger of the people have proven to be so much that it could get people angry enough to come to the streets and topple the regime. And the regime right now is not doing very well. I don't know if you have noticed things that are happening in the Middle East. The regime is fighting for its survival. So making people, two things that suggest that maybe the regime will basically back down. One was the fact that so many people were protesting regarding Mahsa. Two, given how impossible right now it's been for the regime to even enforce the currently existing hijab laws. I don't know if you guys have recently watched YouTube videos from the streets of the main cities in Iran, but it doesn't look like Iran anymore. Like, many women do not wear the hijab, and there is nobody that can do anything about it. So the lack of enforcement ability and the fear of the government from the people and the weakness of the government, given what's happening around the region, would suggest that maybe the right thing to do is to back down a bit. But this hijab law that was just passed just went up the complete other way. And I will give you some of the details about why it seemed like it was designed to just make people angry. And that's why the conspiracy theories of some people who are pro-regime, I see why they have the conspiracy. You know how they blame everything on the Jews? I see why some of them will be tempted to think that, okay, the Jews are in the government. Because many pro-regime people, every time there is a stupid law passed, they say that the Jews are in our government. The Jews, the Zionists are in our government passing laws, right? Let me just tell you what's happening right now. In Iran, we have two types of, we call them Arzashis, like the pro-regime people, the fucking radical Islamic people, right? The one side that thinks that everything is fine, we got this, we're defeating Israel, Hezbollah is strong, Hamas is stronger than ever, Israel is going to fall any day now. When Israel came to Iran, they had nothing. When we attacked Israel, we basically destroyed them. All this fucking bullshit, like half of the, like whatever narrative the regime says, they will be like, yeah, sure, yeah, we believe it. And even with Assad right now falling, I wonder how these people are going to act like this is actually them winning, because that's the only narrative that they will accept. And the narrative that they are saying, that this half is now like, oh yeah, see how powerful we are? Assad was going in the side of Zionists, and we punished him by not supporting him when he needed us. This is exactly how we wanted things to turn out, right? So they will always act like they're winning. Remember, it's the victory of the anus over the sword, right? You shove a sword up their ass.
The literal personification of the dog in the burning house. This is fine.
This is fine, right? But then we have another half of pro-regime people who are like, what the fuck is happening? How come we're not enforcing hijab laws? How come we're so pathetically weak against Israel? And these people, they have Khamenei to act like the reason why the Islamic Republic is fucking up everywhere is because they're not listening to Khamenei. So they criticize all of the regime. They are basically against basically most of the regime now, but they saved Khamenei as the one piece of the regime that they think he's doing everything right. The regime is just not listening to him, and they act like the rest of the regime has been infiltrated by Zionists, right? And the parliament is filled with Zionists and everything. The Zionists are everywhere, and they are basically everything wrong that you see is because Zionists are passing laws. So some of them are now out there and like, okay, this is a Zionist law. This is the Zionists passed this hijab law in Iran. And I see why they might say that, because the line by line, this law has been written in a way that seems to be like wanting a revolution, to start a revolution. You have no idea the level of anger right now in Iran because of this law. And I will tell you some of the parts that pisses people off so much. And I'll tell you which one is the worst part, right? First of all, some of the punishments for not wearing hijab properly is higher than killing your own child right now in Iran. Iran is famous for letting people get away with killing their own child by having very low punishments for it, because you technically own your own kid. So especially if it's a girl. So the punishments are insanely low for killing, for example, your own daughter. And now the hijab laws make the punishment more, like actually to the same level than killing your child. So some people saw that comparison, which was insane. Some things now, all the cameras are, the regime is in the service of the regime to use for hijab enforcement. And some people are suggesting that the hijab is now an excuse for more of a making every street more into a police state. You know, more basically more eyes everywhere to watch everything, not just the hijab. One new thing that this hijab law has is that people who serve non-hijabi women are being aggressively punished now in this new law. So it's not just a woman without a proper hijab. It's if you're a taxi driver and allow her in, if you're a restaurant and serve her food, if you're a bank and you could be severely punished for doing business, for the business could be shut down, your license could be taken away. And the reason why this is pissing off a lot of people is because people are suffering economically right now in Iran. And now a taxi driver that is facing a shit ton of inflation and not enough income now has to worry about. Right now, half of the Iranians in Tehran, for example, half of the women in Tehran are not wearing hijab. So if I'm a taxi driver and I'm trying to make ends meet, I have to be like, fuck, what the hell I do? Like, half of my customers are gone. Like, what the fuck will I do now, right? And they're also, by the way, explaining hijabs for men as well. Like, they have been very specific about what the hijab means for men as well. So that's included. So I have to worry about serving men as well. But the line in which that was added in this law that seemed to have, because Iranians are very, very patriotic, okay? They're very nationalistic. And even the secular Iranians still have some honor culture left into them, right? Even the ones who are not religious, who hate Islam, they have the honor culture left in them, which makes talking about doing things to the women in your life very, very sensitive. And some aggressive forms of patriotism has made, especially because of the government's attempt to do demographic engineering by moving in heavy numbers of Afghans from Afghanistan to Iran, religious ones, to re-engineer the religious demographics of the country, has made a lot of Iranians, especially patriotic Iranians, which basically means most Iranians, very, very sensitive to the immigrants that are coming from Afghanistan to Iran. And that sensitivity is becoming increasing every year. And this line, the line that I'm going to tell you about, in the law says that foreigners, so first of all, it clarifies that you don't need a government official to enforce the hijab laws. Everybody could do that. You don't have to be part of the government. And it's a right of everybody and the responsibility of everybody to enforce hijab laws.
Because it's a religious obligation.
It's a religious obligation. So you don't have to be the police. If you see a non-hijabi woman, you have to stop them from being non-hijabi. And also if you stop, so I will get to the foreigner. I have to give you some context before I tell you why foreigners are a big deal here. So if you make fun of the hijab, the punishments have been defined for you. So you can't even make fun of the hijab. But also if you try to stop somebody, yes, snitching culture, vigilante justice. If you try to stop somebody or criticize somebody for enforcing hijab because they're not the officials, you will get punished for that as well. So you have to understand that if I'm as a citizen try to enforce hijab laws on another person and you come and tell me you're not the fucking police, let her go, then you could be punished for trying to stop me. And when it was talking about this part of the law, explains to you that you don't have to be Iranian to enforce hijab laws. This part got so much attention because Iranians are now convinced that the government is bringing Pakistanis and Afghanistanis into Iran to make Iran more Islamic. And now this law is saying that these people can enforce hijab laws. You don't, like, being an Iranian is not a requirement for you to enforce hijab laws on Iranian women. And as soon as this part was highlighted, so many Iranian men were all over social media saying, I dare. Again, this is not my words, okay? I dare the next Afghan to tell an Iranian woman that she's not wearing proper hijab. I would want to see that. I hope I'm there. And they were all acting.
No, it was literally like Iranian men activate.
They're like, I pity the fool. I hope to witness this. So I will get to unleash. And there were so many of them were claiming that they're willing to go to jail for this. They're willing to pay the heaviest price for this. But if they see, as an Iranian man, if they see a foreigner come and tell an Iranian woman to cover up, then there will be hell to pay. And so many Iranian men were on social media mentioning that, okay? And
dare you to say a damn word to my Iranian sisters? Like, the fury was unleashed.
But this was to be expected. I mean, some religious pro-regime people were looking at this line. I was like, why did you have to put that there? Like, even the people who are in favor of enforcing hijab laws, they were reading this line. They were like, is this a Zionist attempt to make people angry, to topple the regime? That, like, seriously, I'm telling you, pro-regime, pro-hijab enforcement people were like, this seems quite suspicious. Obviously, this is going to anger the highest number of people, right? So, but why, Susie? Obviously, these are conspiracy theories. They're not Zionists inside Iran's parliaments, right? We have an Iranian man agreeing with all of that. Right. So, but why would the regime do this? Why would the regime? I have some theories, because are they trying to speed up the rate at which they will their own demise? Like, are they this stupid? Susie, I have 3 reasons for why it's not actually stupid for the regime to do. Because a lot of people think that the people who run the Islamic Republic, they must be idiots. They're not idiots. This actually makes strategic sense. Do you guys have any theories for why this makes? It's not moral. It's actually evil. But why does it make strategic sense? I have 3 answers for you guys. All these people.
Well, I mean, the foreign national version of it, I'm not entirely solid on what the strategic utility for themselves would be on that specific element of the policy. But in general, I mean, the Islamic Republic and the axis of resistance is getting, anally destroyed so incredibly hard right now. I think the next best thing that they can give their base to help get them to shut the fuck up is just to crack down on women as hard as possible. But I would love to hear your theories, Armin, specifically about why they would include the foreign national element of it.
All right, so I will give you 3 reasons why they're going aggressive with the hijab laws, right? By the way, I don't know if they are going to be able to enforce all of this. I think if they try to enforce this law, we are going to see major tensions. Like, wait for us, me and Susanna, coming up and showing you some videos of basically a civil war between the Iranian people and people who try to enforce these laws. Like, I expect to see some really crazy videos coming out of this if they actually genuinely try to enforce this law. Like, because the way that the Iranian women are right now, I don't think that the cat's out of the bag. I don't think you're going to be able to undo what's happening right now. We'll see if they actually try. But here's the reason why even if they don't try to enforce it, why they actually at least pass this law. First of all, the Islamic Republic justifiably fears the religious pro-regime people more than anyone else in Iran, because that's the last leg that is standing on, and if it loses them, it will topple, it will fall apart. So right now, with the things that are happening in the Middle East, the Islamic Republic looks pathetically weak, and the supporters of the regime are feeling extremely inferior, and they don't think like this is the Islamic Republic that they were hoping for, that they wanted, because Israel has humiliated the Islamic Republic. Look at what's happening to Hezbollah. Look at what's happening to Hamas. Look at what's happening to Assad. So the Islamic Republic needs to give some of its supporters a reason to believe that this is still the Islamic Republic, that we are not gone, that even we might be, we're getting a lot of bad news here, but guys, like, this is still an Islamic country. These are still Islamic laws. Please still believe in us, because if you don't believe, because if we have Israel, basically fucking us like that over there, and also we don't enforce hijab laws and we have hijab laws, then I will, as a religious person that wants an Islamic government, then we're fucked over there, we're fucked over here. Like, what the fuck is this even an Islamic Republic? I'm not going to be as supportive anymore. So this is a response to the humiliation that the Islamic Republic is facing in the Middle East, to give some hope to its supporters, right? That we're still here. That's number one. A message to them. Another message is to the Barandos people, the secular liberal people who are hoping that one day they could topple the regime. The regime might fear that these people might feel encouraged that now it's the time to hit, because the regime is weak, given that everything that is happening in the region, given how they're losing all of everything that they invested in the past 40 years. It seems like the regime is weak enough that maybe now is the time to rise up from within and take the regime down. The regime wants to send them a message that, look, I might be weak against Israel, but I'm not weak against you. Like, I can still bite. I am still more powerful than you. So it's a reminder to the Iranian people that I have power over you, even if I don't have power in the region. So that is a signal to the people. Another reason why the law is this aggressive is to make it extra aggressive and then tone it down, so that the toned down version doesn't seem as bad. So basically, maybe telling you that I'm gonna fuck you with a sword, and then I'd eventually tell you that no, I'm gonna fuck you with a stick instead, right? So the stick looks relatively. So if I just came and told you that I'm gonna shove a stick up your ass, you might have not been happy. But if I said I'm gonna do it with a sword at the beginning, now I tell you that it's with the stick, you might accept the stick more, because now relative to the sword, it doesn't look that bad. So basically what I'm saying is that the stick might be Khamenei's son. They might want to, given that Khamenei might be dying soon, they might want to, for the Islamic Republic to survive, they might want to go the Ben Salman route in Iran, meaning that they might want to go from being an Islamic theocracy to a military dictatorship by toning down the Islamic sides of it. And to make that work, they have to go heavy. This is a theory that hasn't been proven to be true or not, but it's a theory, it's a working theory, that maybe the Islamic Republic wants to increase the Islamization dose, so that when they eventually go the Ben Salman route and become, it looks very pleasant compared to what was there just before it. So when they are going to bring Khamenei's son, Mujtaba Khamenei, he would act more like a Ben Salman, but before it, you were being fucked so badly that you would welcome anything. So because selling Mujtaba Khamenei is going to be a hard sell to the Iranian people. But if you make their lives really, really hard, then Mujtaba Khamenei doing anything that is not that might be welcomed. That's how they might sell him as well. You saw how hard things were when we were in charge. Well, this guy is going to stop fucking you. So like, yay, isn't that great? Let's clap for Mujtaba Khamenei. So that might be a strategy that they're playing as well. So these are the three reasons.
That is, thank you for the analysis, Armin. I mean,
yeah.
My God. My God. It's going to be very interesting to see. But correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't Pezeshkian come on... analogies, please. Didn't Pezeshkian come out and criticize this law and basically say that it's impossible to enforce?
Yeah, Pezeshkian is a nobody that can't do anything. And he's irrelevant. He's there. The point of Pezeshkian is for the 10% or less than the 8% remaining support for the regime. He was selected as the president so that because Khamenei recognized that things are going to become bad economically and also in the region. So we need a reformer president so that people don't blame the hardliners for what's happening. So Pezeshkian is just there so that, you know how I told you that many people who support the regime, they blame the regime but not Khamenei. They wanted to make sure that a so-called reformist government is in power. So when shit hits the fan, the hardliners don't get blamed for it. So Pezeshkian is just there to take the blame away from Khamenei and carry the blame for Khamenei. That was his entire point. He has no power. He has no role. He's just there to save Khamenei from the blames of the economic hardship that is coming. Yes, scapegoat.
Be a good little scapegoat. Okay, so let's go through the comments that
yes,
D found.
Kenny, he's the cover guy. Exactly. He knows, but the problem is that he doesn't have a filter. So many of the things that he says, sometimes he says that I'm just here for the cover guy. He's like, I wasn't even trying to be the president.
Stuff about like
he admits
that he's not.
Yeah, he's like, he was like, I wasn't supposed to be the president. They just brought me and made me the president. I don't even know how it happened. I was just
like handpicked. Like basically the whole thing was rigged. I'm like, you're not
supposed to say that. Yeah, and he says like, I don't have any roles to play, and he said like, I have no power. Khamenei, I just have to do the thing that Khamenei tells me. Like he says the quiet part out loud.
For people that don't know, that's unprecedented. You don't say that out loud.
Yes. But actually, it's working. Here's the funny thing. I was like, why are you saying all this out loud? Like, wouldn't that ruin the game? It's actually helping the game. Because the hardliners who want to blame Pezeshkian for everything, they're saying like, oh, he's fucking our economy and he wants to act like it's Khamenei's fault. How, like, so it's working actually. Like, oh my God, the evil motherfucker. He's like fucking everything. Raisi was saving our economy and he's not fucking our economy. And he says like, no, like he's just trying to blame Khamenei for everything. That's why he's saying all of this. So actually his honestly makes him look more like a demon to the hardliners. Anyways,
I mean, talking about the successes of Raisi, it shows how bleak things are. Oh my God.
Yeah, guys, right now, guys, remember, Iran has the highest level of gas. I think the second in the world when it comes to gas, and I think fourth in oil. And Iran right now doesn't have electricity enough for its own people. We have power outages in a country. Do you understand how fucked up you have to be? If you want to blame the sanctions, fuck you. You have a country that is sitting on this much oil and gas. There's no level of sanctions that could justify you cutting electricity, power outages in a country that is sitting on this much oil and gas is insane. It's fucking insane. But we have power outages. We have power outages in Iran, and now the hardliners are like, we didn't have power outages when Raisi was in charge. That's why you killed him, because you wanted to make sure that you are blaming a reformer. Anyways, I'm not
gonna. For those who don't know what Armin is talking about, basically we don't know this, but we think it's the most likely and simple explanation that the last president was killed by the Islamic Republic government. Yeah. They took his helicopter and they ran it into a mountain.
Yeah, we cannot have, because guys, a revolution might be incoming. Because remember in the 98 revolution, 98 in Iranian calendar, not in the Gregorian calendar. I don't know how many years ago that would be. Okay, never mind. So The revolution that happened, the wave of the revolution that happened before the master revolution was over fuel prices. Okay, car
2019
gas prices.
for our
Yes,
calendar.
okay, thank you.
Bloody Abon.
Oh, fantastic. Yes, bloody Abba. So, and then the next wave of revolution that happened in Iran was over Mahsa Amini, which was basically hijab laws. Now what's coming now is these more aggressive hijab laws, and the government is now about to increase fuel prices as well at the same time. This is why the government had no choice but to have a reformer president, because there is no way for them not to increase fuel prices, and increasing fuel prices last time caused people to come in the streets. So remember this: hijab laws and increasing fuel prices brings people into the streets the last two times, and now both of them are happening at the same time at a much higher level than before. That's why the regime is bracing itself. Yeah.
Guys, I don't know if people know how different the world looks than it did just 90 days ago, let alone a decade ago. This is insane.
Yes. Yeah.
I don't know what's going to happen within the next 5 years.
Yeah, this past year, you're saying the history. If to say that this was a pivotal last few months for the Middle East, like everything is changing in all sorts of direction. Like the last time things were this level, you saw this level of change in the Middle East was, you have to go back to the when the Caliphate fell and the Europeans came and drew the borders, and you had the Ottoman Empire falling, everything shifting, because after the Ottoman Empire fell and the borders were drawn, we're still living in that reality. I think the things that you're seeing happening in the past few months is that level of a game changer. That's how things are changing in the Middle East right now, and you're witnessing it.
It's a wild time to be alive. So wait, let's go through the comments that D found. Our lovely best editor D does great work for us. No, scroll down to the next one. That's just like showing the news item. So this person was responding to the announcement of this, saying, the chastity and hijab law is not about faith. It's about control and fear. It's time for the world to unite and demand an end to demand an end to these draconian measures. Yes, sure. But I want to point out something. It's hashtag we support MEK. Okay. Guys, if you
what the fuck?
Someone who's talking about MEK, this is part of a group that is a terrorist opposition movement working outside the borders of Iran. This is a group that has terrorized and massacred Iranian civilians. They're extremely hated by the Iranian public. So if you hear anyone talking about MEK or Maryam Rajabi, just know that they are hated and have no legitimacy within the political movement of
fuck this guy. This guy is, if you support the MEK, you're supporting something that is worse than the regime. Okay, guys, be careful. Not everybody who's talking against the regime or supporting women or anti-oppression as Iranian, if they support the MEK, they want something that is worse than the Islamic Republic. Fuck this guy and fuck the cult that he's supporting. Okay. And also, I was going to say fuck him even before Susanna noticed that hashtag because of his message. And then when Susanna noticed the hashtag, I didn't notice it. Good job, Susanna, for noticing that. I was going to say fuck him regardless of that. But now I understand his tweet because of his hashtag. Susanna, why do you think I'm going to say fuck you to this guy even without him supporting the MEK?
Even without him supporting the MEK? Pretend that's not there?
Even without... Yeah, just because of his tweet, without him supporting
he's saying it's not about faith. Yes, no, it is about faith.
It is about faith. The reason why he's saying it's not about faith is because the MEK is an Islamic organization. So
they're Muslim terrorists as well.
Fuck your cult leader, Maryam Rajavi. These people worship her, and she wears a hijab. And that's why he's saying this is not about faith. Fuck you and your cult, okay? So this is completely about faith. So look at the contradiction here. Saying this law is not about faith, it's about control. You fucking idiot. The faith is used for control. This guy supports a cult that uses faith to get people to kill themselves for the cause, to burn themselves alive for the sake of their cult leader, Mariam. So they use faith as a means of control in their own fucking cult. Oh my god! Again, we might have to do a show.
Dee is devious because she knew this would trigger us.
Yeah.
Dee, our editor is weaponizing this against us, Armin, our own team.
Yes.
First of all, how dare you?
Played by Dee.
And this person is saying fascist, religious cesspit women must be free. Well, yeah, let liberty reign. Zanzandegi Azadi, mofos, let's go.
Look at this comment. Yeah.
I love this. LOL. I just learned MEK is a mix of Marxism and Shia Islam. Man, as a Marxist, I cannot support such hybrid BS. Yes, it is somehow more ugly and disgusting than just normal Marxism, which is quite an accomplishment, actually.
Also, stop being a Marxist, by the way.
Please.
Yeah, stop.
Come on.
Yeah.
Come on, the winning side.
Yes. We're kicking your ass. We liberals are kicking your ass. Come join us. It's much better here. Isn't it more fun to be on the winning team? Yeah, by the way, that's how fucked up MEK is. Marxism and Shia Islam and Marxism, the two most destructive ideologies in the world, they had a baby. That's MEK. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's do the super chats.
Dan gave another super chat. So this is hearkening back to his previous super chats earlier, saying Muslims in Bollywood are actually a good example of what liberal nominal Muslims who are totally assimilated into to their host society look like. Yeah, I see no problem with it. You know,
Muslims again. Muslims can assimilate. Islam can't. Remember that. Muslims who move away from Islam assimilate.
GJ gave a super chat saying, Susanna, the Amsterdam district attorney has literally stated the 45 suspects have no intent to scare or threaten Amsterdam Jewish community, blatant fear of appearing Islamophobic, just like the UK versus grooming. This is bleak. He continued, I won't email you or Discord. I'm 100% disabled, severe chronic pain sufferer. I use capitals for better legibility and ergonomics with emphasis. Free speech. Well, shoot. Okay. If you have, I would really enjoy some like good sources in Dutch. That's why, because I want to cover that well, because I'm actually very interested in covering this. So I will attempt to go research this myself. If there are other people who have knowledge about it, please tell us on Discord. But in terms of you being a severe chronic pain sufferer, GJ, I want to tell you that you're a freaking warrior, okay? As someone who also suffers from chronic pain, this is what I think about all the time. People that suffer from chronic pain do not get enough celebration because it's horrible. So, mad respect for you. You're a warrior. Okay. I appreciate you for that and what you go through because it's not recognized enough. If you guys know anyone else that suffers from chronic pain, if you suffer from chronic pain, go tell that person that you know that they're a freaking warrior because you have no idea what it's like. Or you're lucky if you don't know. Dan gave a super chat saying, can a Shia convert to Sunnism within within Iran? Can a Sunni and Shias intermarry? There are Iranian mullahs who are worried about increasing Sunni population. Armin, what is your insight on this?
That's very interesting. My guess is that no, you can't. But technically, the laws are for leaving Islam, not for leaving Shia Islam. Let me see. I have to look that up. What was the second part?
Are they allowed to intermarry?
There are Iranian mullahs who are worried about increasing Sunni population. Also, yes, Sunni and Shia can intermarry. But I have to find the first one to the laws. Yeah, so I will look this up. Okay, come on, answer me. No, they do not allow it. So no, Iran. I know Iran is very, very aggressively anti-Sunni. Like their laws are very discriminatory against Sunnis. So I just looked this up. So no, the Iranian laws do not permit Shias to convert to Sunni Islam or any other religion. The reason why I was hesitant to say no is because the laws that I've seen mentioned specifically says that you cannot leave Islam, right? But I didn't know if the details suggest, because if you go from Shia Islam to Sunni Islam, you didn't leave Islam. But apparently, no, it specifically doesn't let you leave Shia Islam. Mm-hmm. So okay, interesting.
Okay. Oh, Kenny, thank you, Kenny. Kenny is one of our best volunteers. He just gifted 5 Atheist Republic memberships. That's amazing. And that is a great reminder to everyone that one of the best ways to support the show is to become a member of the YouTube channel. You get access to our members only content and also our cute little emojis. Link is in the description, or you hit the join button down below. If you don't want to support us that way, you can also support us via PayPal, which is an amazing way to help support our work and keep the show going, because it's a lot more than just me and Armin behind the scenes. And link is in the description. Gajin gave a super chat saying the People's Republic of China is forcing Russia and Iran to bidding to the bottom.
Oh yeah, from oil prices. So yeah, Russia and the Islamic Republic and Russia, they don't. A lot of people think they're allies. They're actually, they have a lot of tension against each other, and one of the main sources of tension is which one can sell, because they're both sanctioned. So and their main customer, or technically only customer for their oil and gas, is now China, and China is loving it because, given the sanctions, they don't have any other customers, so they have to sell it very low. But because there are two countries under sanctions that don't have any other customers in China, so both of them have to lower the price relative to the other one to be able to get China to buy from them. And basically, PRC is loving this, and Iran and Russia are kind of hating each other because each one is trying to undercut the other one. So it's a very tough situation. They're selling the Islamic Republic is selling Iranian oil at a fucking insane level of discount. It's so cheap. It's like they stole it. Like that's the prices that they're selling it at. You know how when you steal a bike and you go sell it, you have to sell it at a very low price.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
A lot of Iranian people say like, oh, that price makes sense because you stole the oil from the Iranian people. So it makes sense that you're selling it at a price that makes it seem like it's theft. Yeah.
Interessante. Dan gave us another super chat. Thank you, Dan, for being so generous today. Saying, is Islam just Judaism with 2 extra prophets? No. No.
So
short answer, no.
So it came from Judaism. It's rooted in Judaism, if that's what you mean. Yes, it used to be a Judeo-Christian cult that evolved to Islam. But you cannot say it is Judaism, because even though it grew out of Judaism, it has views against Jewish beliefs. So it's not just 2 prophets. It has 2 extra prophets. It has a lot of extra mythology, and also a lot of contradictions with Judaism, and a lot of a lot of claims against the Jewish beliefs. So that would make it not a Jewish religion.
Yeah.
But it came out of Judaism. Jewish conspiracy. Islam is a Jewish conspiracy.
Actually, okay, this past week I have spent like a bunch of time on various flavors of like anti-Semite Nazi Twitter recently because I've been trying to just figure out what the hell is going on over there. Like there are many different flavors of like right-wing authoritarian anti-Semitism is what I'm discovering. Okay. It's like 31 flavors. And a new flavor that I have discovered is that Christianity is a Jewish conspiracy.
I mean, technically that's true.
Not exactly, but the way, I mean, the reason why they believe that is like way more insidious, obviously. But
I know they're being insidious, but if you not in the way that they think it's a Jewish conspiracy, but actually in the real world, not in the way that they mean it, it is a Jewish conspiracy.
No, they're like Jews want people to join Christianity,
I know what they say.
Not join Judaism because they want the Christians to worship the God of Israel and give them power and all this stuff. I went down a rabbit hole this week. And I need to detox my brain. Oh, God. D is reminding people to please subscribe because we are so close to 69K.
Nice. 69. Nice.
Please, everyone, help us reach this milestone just so we can be,
very adolescent about this. Whenever people make fun about the number 69, I always wonder, what percentage of people have actually tried that position? Like, if everybody makes fun of comments about it, but have they actually tried it? I just wonder. Anyways, I wonder about weird things.
Yeah, I mean, and also, wait, for languages that don't use the Arabic numeral system, do they have different numbers that are sex positions? Like Armin, in the Persian numerical system is not the same. You have different numbers, different characters for numbers.
Okay, not numbers that are
sex positions.
Not sex positions, but Allah has a hey at the end of it, which makes it a circle. And a lot of Iranians, they say, fuck Allah in his tiny little circle at the end of his name. So is that relevant? A lot of Iranians say that. Hold on, let me show you.
Or like Gaysian American. Gaysian, please tell us if there are any Chinese characters that people use to symbolize a sex position.
Wait. Oh, there we go.
Kenny, a gentleman of culture, saying that's a great question, Susan.
Wait. So I don't have anything equivalent.
Cross-cultural exchange.
Yeah, can I show you this? Okay, so you see this? So some Iranians, because Allah doesn't have like a figure or an image, or so to insult Allah, you see this hole here. A lot of Iranians say, "I fuck Allah in this hole right here." I don't know. So
okay, we're ending. I'm ending the cultural enrichment segment of this stream. That made me upset.
It's not what I said. A lot of Iranians say that. They say, and they also make comments about the size. They're like, anyways, I'm not. I think I'm gonna discuss. Whoa.
Okay.
Anyways,
We got a few more super chats. BCG Vitan gave some Bulgarian money. Thank you, saying Eshkam, Armin, Susanna and company.
Oh.
That means like I love you, or kind of like my love. Thank you. That's so sweet. Rizel gave a super chat saying Islam is a fanfic of Judaism where the authors didn't know the original material well. It's like a plagiarized and then bastardized version that then is manipulated for political expediency throughout different eras.
There are verses in the Quran that suggest that Muhammad confused, or not Muhammad, whoever wrote the Quran, confused the Torah and the Talmud with each other.
No. And finally, GJ gave a super chat saying, I will give you one more super chat because Max Verstappen got his 4th straight F1 title, and Rico Verhoeven yesterday won his 12th straight world heavyweight kickboxing title in 10 years. Good night. Well,
Good night.
congratulations. Congratulations to the Dutch people. Dan gave a super chat saying that anal sex is banned in Islam. You go directly to hell. Sorry.
No, what are you talking about? There's a specific verse in the Quran that says that your women are like your fields, and you could enter them in any way that you want. And a lot of the tafsir on that Quranic verse makes it clear that this is anal. We have an anal sex Quranic verse.
We have a stream about this.
Yes.
We have a members only stream.
God is specifically saying that if you have a field, nobody will tell you to go into your field this way and not that way. It's your field, so you could enter it in every direction that you want. So because women are like your fields, you could enter it in any way that you want. A lot of the tafsir says that this is about anal sex. So you can have anal sex with your wife, Islamically.
And also anal jihad. We also did a stream.
I'm not making, but guys, I know a lot of you think like I'm always like talking about this stuff. It's not my problem. This is what I'm reporting. This is not a joke. This is the tafsir of this Quranic verse. It's there. Like, I'm not making this shit up.
We got another super chat. Dan gave a super chat saying Quran makes Jesus and Alexander the Great into Muslims. It seems, well, technically it makes everyone Muslims. We're all born Muslim. We just forget it. We're corrupted. That's why we're called, if someone joins Islam, they're called a revert. It seems like Muhammad turned every famous person he knew into a Muslim charlatan. It's because you're born with a Muslim soul. Here, Dan, here's the cool part. You're a Muslim.
No, he's right. All the prophets of Judaism were claimed to be Muslim by
and hundreds that they just invented out of nowhere.
Yes,
because they say that the Jews killed the hundreds of their own prophets, and I go talk to Jews, and they're like, "We didn't even have hundreds of prophets. What are they talking about?"
Yeah, the name Islam has for Jews is prophet killers, because they said because Jews were the worst of people, so God sent them prophets because they need the most guidance, and the Jews killed their own prophets, and Jews are prophet killers, and these were Muslim prophets that tried to bring Islam to the Jews, and they kept killing them. That's what they said.
Citation: just trust me, bro. They killed their own prophets. Well, which ones? Trust me, bro. Dan, give another super chat saying Quran only bans wine, not whiskey, vodka, and rum. But scholars have understood that to be meaning alcohol.
Alcohol, yes.
Asian American.
Spirit of the law.
Oh, I think he's answering my question about the Chinese characters that mean sexual things. Okay. So thank you, Gaijin. This is scholarly work right here. Okay, 0 equals bottom. That makes sense. 0.5 verse. So versatile. You'll take it or you'll give it from a gay position. That's what they mean. 1 equals top. Okay, so you're just pitching. You ko equals mouth. Okay. 2 equals protrude. Okay, that makes sense if you look at the shape of the character. Ao equals indent. Also makes sense. None of the characters are technically dirty, but netizens will netizen. Well, I mean, same thing with 69. Thank you. Okay.
Thank you.
This is why this is the glory of the AR community.
Yeah, how come when the rest of the community tells you these things, you act like this is such a important information? But when I give you some, you act like, oh, this is disgusting. This is some discrimination against me from Susanna here. Susie, I'm also reporting content from other people. Don't make it seem like I'm being the weirdo here.
Okay, but Gaijin communicates himself like a real gentleman, and you just make everything so crude.
Sure. Fine.
Okay, we should go to the next
Not
news.
Okay.
Armin, I'm gonna call right now that we're gonna have to push the number 5 news to next week, because that was like the full-blown report that I read, and we don't have enough time to dig into it in the way.
Wait, can I tease it to people at least?
Yeah.
Okay, guys. So this is the news that we're not covering today. We're going to cover this on next week. So this is a teaser. It's going to be the UK prisons that are breeding ground for jihadi recruitment. So subscribe, because this is one of the news that Susie is going to be covering.
Basically, I'm going to talk about a government report that I read.
No, don't tell them. Don't tell them. It's a teaser. The cliffhanger. Don't tell them.
Let's just say that people leave UK prisons worse than when they entered. And we're going to dig into it next week in full, because I'd be reading these reports. Yes. Speaking of reports that I want an excuse to talk about, let's go to the next news.
Okay. Next news.
Next news. PayPal destroys Iranian spy network in Germany. So this is one of the situations where I like to come to you guys with a W, okay? Because we freaking hate Islamists over here loudly and proudly across the world, including when they're operating in Germany. And they'd be operating in Germany. And so I like to celebrate a victory when we can get it. And this is one of those moments, however small. So PayPal has delivered a major setback to Iran's influence network in Europe by shutting down the account of the Berlin-based Al-Mustafa Institute, an affiliate of Iran's Al-Mustafa International University, or MIU for short, known for spreading the regime's extremist Shia ideology. The U.S. Treasury officially sanctioned the MIU in 2020 for, quote, serving as a recruiting ground for the Revolutionary Guards Corps Quds Force, so the IRGC. And Western governments, including Germany, have accused it of acting as a hub for terrorist recruitment and ideological propagation. Established in 2016, the Al-Mustafa Institute is one of MIU's 50 international branches and has been linked to exporting Iran's revolutionary ideology under the direct oversight of the Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei through the Al-Bayt World Assembly, which is another international body that is literally an arm of the regime. I mean, it's just a fact. Critics have long alleged that MIU and its affiliates use educational platforms to fund and support the Iranian regime's proxies, such as Hezbollah, while spreading its ideological agenda globally. This development reflects a growing international crackdown on Iran's network of influence, as the upcoming Trump administration signals a return to maximum pressure policies targeting Tehran's global operations. Okay. So I wanted to cover this news because it gives me an excuse to talk about these massive reports I've been reading about Iran's international influence operations. Okay. Haha, I gotcha. So the win here is that one of their funding mechanisms has been shut down, because now if you try to visit their websites where you could previously go donate to them via PayPal, it'll basically give you a message prompting that you're unable to do so right now because they've been shut down and found to be violating things XYZ. Because they be violating OFAC policies. So here's the deal. This is why I want to talk about it, because this is literally an explicit outpost of the Islamic Republic operating in Germany. And this institute or university has all of these different branches or subsidiaries or whatever in like 50 different countries. And this is not like they're kind of connected to the regime through XYZ. No, this is like as pretty much as direct as you can get. And And what they do is very, very insidious. So I want to read a little bit of a segment from this report I was reading from the George Washington University program on extremism. And it's this report that I've been talking about sometimes on the show, which is like the most extensive survey of Iranian influence networks within the United States. But a lot of the report touches on how these systems operate internationally. And this in Germany is one of those instances. So here's a little background. The Al-Mustafa International University, or MIU for short, is an umbrella organization that coordinates seminaries, schools, and educational centers exclusively for non-Iranians operating both inside and outside Iran. Okay, let's highlight that once again. This is exclusively for non-Iranians. Overseen, okay, so again, this is literally overseen by the Office of Iran's Supreme Leader through the Ahl-Bayt World Assembly, which is another one of their like offices. What's the word I'm looking for? It's an extension of the regime, like literally. There's no other way to put it. MIU trains non-Iranian students to propagate the Iranian version of Shia Islam, placing a special focus on Khomeini's concept of Valayat al-Faqih. Sorry, I can't
Valayat al-Faqih.
Thank you. And export the ideology of the revolution. So it operates in, there are more than 40,000 foreign students and 130 different nationalities enrolled in the main institute in Qom. There are more than 50 branches in different countries. So basically, this is where things get interesting in the U.S. context. This is where things get juicy. So the U.S., they got designated in 2022 by the U.S. Treasury Department for basically being an arm and recruiting mechanism for the IRGC Quds Force. By allowing its student body, which includes a large number of foreign and American students, to serve as an international recruitment network. The IRGC uses the Al-Mustafa University to develop student exchanges with foreign universities for the purpose of indoctrinating and recruiting foreign sources from which IRGC members seek to collect intelligence. On the other hand, and possibly more concerning in the medium and long term, Mustafa International University also serves as a comprehensive platform for recruiting, training, and radicalizing individuals, some of which have been sent to Syria to fight on behalf of the IRGC. Namely associated with Fatimiyun. And multiple of these students have been killed in fighting. This is where things get juicy in the U.S. context. Due to a combination of sanctions, the designation of MIU as a terrorist entity, again, the U.S. has designated the main version of this school that has branches internationally as a terrorist entity, so it's operating within Berlin. And the nature of its activities, the extent of the university's engagement with U.S. citizens remain clear, but evidence exists to establish that it is happening. The case of Muzammil Zaidi, a Houston-based U.S. citizen from Pakistan, indicates that there's a certain engagement. So basically, this report goes on to profile multiple instances, where U.S.-based individuals of Pakistani descent, specifically, are being sent to this university, different places around the world, and being radicalized. So when there was a criminal case being levied against another one of these US-based Pakistanis, their local community was rallying around them and saying that the brother is studying at a famous and well-known Shia Muslim religious seminary in Qom. And then this is in their original quote where they're talking about this, saying, parentheses, where close to 100 other American Shia Muslims are currently enrolled. So what this serves as a way for not only this entity that has been designated as a terrorist entity inside Iran, but it allows it to operate around the world, and then also have these situations where they're training people to later go out into the world and collect intelligence or just straight up be radicalized into fighters.
how did they let these things like get this far? I want to know that. Like, how is this? How are these there operating, having all of this infrastructure? Like, why does it take this long for them to shut? Like, it's a I don't understand.
So
Like, this is right under your nose, and
yeah, I mean, I cannot speak to what's going on in Germany really specifically. You know, I'm most familiar with or more knowledgeable about Iranian influence in the American context, right? So I'm also more familiar with what we're doing about it. But it is known that Germany is investigating this institute.
But it took years for them to establish all of this. Like,
and it took years for
wouldn't
them
you
to
be-
shut down the Blue Mosque in Hamburg. Remember how long it took for them to shut down the Blue Mosque? But I mean, they did it.
Okay,
Thank
like
God.
did they know these things but didn't do anything about it, and now they have the political will to do something about it, or do they just only now realize what the fuck these things are? Like,
I don't know. That's not something I can answer, to be honest. I don't know.
mhm.
But here's a little bit more information about what Germany is doing about it. So not only did they get hit with this issue with PayPal all of a sudden, but quote, and if that's not bad enough, Germany has cracked down on the institute, which serves as one of the principal mechanisms for recruiting terrorists and supporting the Iran regime's highly dangerous brand of Shia extremism. According to the mass circulation German paper Bild, the German investigators are examining whether 700 people linked to Al-Mustafa Institute are engaged in espionage. They're investigating if 700 people are engaged in espionage. Bild stated the German officials are investigating a secret list of names, including at least 63 individuals holding German passports, and a student directory, and a list of 78 trainees from Germany. And then when focus on Western extremism, which was reporting on this, approached different ministries to make comment. They basically refused to comment on ongoing investigations. Okay, fair enough. A representative of the agency did say Iran's illegitimate activities are the focus for the security authorities, citing a recent report from the German Office for the Protection of the Constitution on the topic to demonstrate the country's interest in the problem. For example, the ministry banned the Blue Mosque, as we call it in English, with its sub-organizations. There are several Germany-based Iranian dissidents who have been calling for this investigation for a very long time. So it is definitely a long time coming. One of these dissidents says that Germany's negligence in this matter and allowing the expansion of such centers can have serious consequences for this country, especially with understanding that this institution was established with the direct order of Khamenei.
So I think somebody said something in the chat that I think it could be true and might explain why all of this is happening right now instead of before. Because I honestly don't think that this is new information. There's no way that they didn't know this thing, knew these things.
No.
I think this is a result of October 7th. And Polly in the chat is saying German government goes after Iranian influence because of Israel. They ignore much of the Sunni stuff though. I think this might be true. I think the reason why they're going after October 7th, Israel has put, because of Israel, there's a lot more pressure on Germany to go after stuff that are Iranian related. This is not that they just realized this. This is one of the results of October 7th. I think this might be true. The Shia Blue Mosque, for example, when they raided the Shia Blue Mosque, the Shia Blue Mosque was doing all the fuckery they were doing. They were doing it before, and they knew it.
It was openly known as a terrorist outpost for years and years and years. Like there was no
So this is
objection.
This is all just a response to October 7th. Now that we're seeing the political, because if it wasn't because of October 7th, this would be only an Islamic center and it would be Islamophobic. But October 7th give you the political capital to say this is not about Islam. These are the forces behind October 7th in their mind. Like you would have less woke opposition for going after this compared to something that is just only like Islamic.
Yeah.
So I think that might be So Paul, that was a good comment. By the way, Grace is saying I will respond to that later.
Oh, are we going to talk about Assyria? Yeah, Armin's going to go
We
cover it
did.
tomorrow in full. We
did at the beginning of the show, and I'm going to do an entire show about it. But we did talk about it at the beginning.
Yeah. Armin, there is breaking news that Assad has been granted asylum in Russia.
What? Fucking hell. So he didn't even go to Iran? We'll see if that news is true. We don't know if it's true. We have to double check.
I mean, it's reported by DW. We'll see. We'll see.
Well, yeah, but be careful, because when some credible news source says something, we have to see if they're saying that it happened, or are they saying that some people are reporting that this happened? Because if they are saying that these people are reporting that this happened, and if it didn't happen, that doesn't mean that that was fake news, because they actually didn't say it happened. They're saying that some people, they're reporting on the reporting, not on the actual whether or not the actual thing happened. So be careful with that. Yes.
Yeah.
But we will double check. That's pretty interesting.
Oh, I had something I was going to say. I completely forgot. Damn. Oh, do you have any opinions about maximum pressure?
Maximum pressure on
going into
Iran?
The next administration? Yeah.
Oh, of course I have, but I think we should talk. I think we should actually. I don't know if I could fit it in remaining time that we have.
Fair
I just want to say that given that this news is about PayPal, our PayPal link, guys, is in the description. And do you want to talk about that before we go to the super chat? So, guys, we celebrate, yay, PayPal, celebrate PayPal. And we are also have Giving Tuesday, and our PayPal link is in the description. So support us and PayPal at the same time. By the way, what are the chances of PayPal one day removing, coming after? I hope they, because PayPal used to be woke, but now these days they're better. So I hope it's a safe platform to use. It's much better than Patreon because you get much more of the share. So guys, if you want to find the most efficient way to donate us, number one is not actually PayPal. Number one is the donation button on YouTube. That if you use that button to donate to us, we get Atheist Republic gets 100%. Nothing goes on fees or anything. But PayPal is the second best way, and right now we should focus on PayPal because we're trying to reach. What are we trying to reach? We're trying to get to a number for Giving Tuesday. Have we made any progress?
For end of your fundraising, our fundraising goal is $5,000.
Yes. So guys, the link is in the description. We have reached 658. So please help us out. A link is in the description. Again, remember that we're doing a lot of great work when it comes to changing minds in the Middle East. We are when it comes to the Iranian people are already, without our help, becoming less Islamic. But one thing that our channel is doing is catching them, many of them, into them not going into other, when they leave Islam, not fall for other things, like for wokeism or fascism or for racism. There's a lot of different directions that we go. And a lot of people who are leaving Islam. Our channel, I would say our channel is the number one source of spreading liberal values to people who are looking for alternatives to Islam in Iran. When it comes to liberalism, our channel is number one. And we are a great force for spreading liberalism in Iran, liberal values. So if you like that, please consider supporting us by using the link in the description. Actually, I should put the link in the live chat as well. Let me put the link.
Oh, Kenny is asking about the donate button. We turn the donate button on after the stream is over.
Yes, I could do it right now so you guys can see what that looks like. So
you have less than 2 minutes before we hit.
Oh, wait. Well, while I do that, you want to read the super chat that we have? We have one super chat.
Oh, yes. Thank you, our gentleman of culture, Asian American, saying Chairman G said he wanted to reclaim the word "tongzi," comrade, from the deviant homosexuals. Hell yeah, bro.
Okay, so I'm going to, oh yeah, so I did it now. So you can see the super chat button has disappeared, I think. Yes, and it now looks like a heart, so you can donate now. Anyways, we're gonna go. Oh, we're gonna go. Bye, guys.